Chapter 1343. Chapter 1343. Chapter 1343. Be in trouble. Our greatsword sect is willing to offer a sunstone. The silence did not last long before it was broken by a rough voice. A middle-aged man with a giant sword on his back stepped forward. He took out a white stone from his bosom and handed it to Jin Xiong. As expected of the greatsword sect, they didn't even blink when they took out a sunstone. It seems like they have a deep foundation. Isn't that so? It's said that the ancestor of the greatsword sect has already reached the pinnacle of the 9th grade human sovereign realm and has the qualifications to make a breakthrough into the heavenly sovereign realm. What? Breaking through to the heavenly sovereign realm? That's right. The moment the ancestor of the greatsword sect breaks through to the heavenly supreme realm, the greatsword sect will become one of the top forces in the pellet formation continent. Seeing the greatsword sect's greatsword venerable take out a sunstone, the surrounding crowd exclaimed. The sunstone was an extremely precious stone. Strictly speaking, it was only slightly weaker than the soul stone. Our fire god school is willing to take out a piece of sunstone. Our evil monarch manor is willing to take out a sunstone. Our Death Valley is willing to offer a sunstone. Behind the great sword sect venerable, 3 more powerful cultivators walked out. Each of them took out a sunstone and handed it to Jin Xiong. Great sword sect, fire god sect, evil monarch manor, Death Valley, each of you can send a supreme martial artist into the city. After receiving the 4 sunstones, Jin Xiong said in a clear voice, "Get ready. We will depart in 20 minutes. Sha 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 sha." As soon as Jin Xiong's voice fell, a young martial artist walked out from each of the 4 great sections. Peak 9th grade human supreme martial artist. Clearly, the cultivators sent by the 4 sects were all peak 9th grade human sovereigns. In terms of cultivation, they were on par with the Broken Dragon Valley and the Jin clan. However, all of them were clearly aware that they couldn't compare to formidable sects like the Jin clan, Broken Dragon Gorge, Flower Palace, and Emperor Palace in terms of combat strength. Gotcha! At the same time, in the empty secret realm, at the entrance of the giant city, a crisp sound rang out in the void, and the passageway opened up by the space laws gradually became deeper. Not long after, the law of space's voice rang in Ningyu's mind. The spatial node has been constructed. Now, the 2 bloodthirsty mad wolves can enter. Hearing the voice of the law of space, Ningyu didn't hesitate. Instead, he said to the scarred bloodthirsty mad wolf and the ferocious bloodthirsty mad wolf, "Go in through this passageway. Focus on the altar. We'll be waiting for you there." The scarred bloodthirsty mad wolf and the ferocious bloodthirsty mad wolf looked at each other and saw the worry in each other's eyes. Recently, it wasn't that no one had used this method. However, without exception, no matter how strong these beasts were, their bodies would explode the moment they entered the boundary of the giant city. This was exactly what the scarred and ferocious bloodthirsty mad wolves were worried about. "Don't worry, there won't be any problems." Ningyu waved his hand and said, "All of you should be very clear that you'll definitely die if you don't leave with me. Let's fight." After pondering for a moment, the scarred bloodthirsty berserk wolf gritted its teeth, stomped on the ground, and entered the tunnel. Behind the scarred, bloodthirsty mad wolf, the ferocious bloodthirsty mad wolf also had a determined look on its face as it followed closely behind. "Let's go too." Seeing the scarred, bloodthirsty mad wolf and the others leave, Ningyu grabbed Jinlan's shoulder and quickly rushed into the giant city. Swoosh! The giant city was only a deterrent to the beasts. It wouldn't stop humans like Ningyu and Jinlan. After entering the giant city, Ningyu and Jinlan immediately rushed toward the giant altar in the center of the giant city. Clearly, this wasn't Jinlan's first time entering the giant city. Under her guidance, they soon arrived in front of the altar. Activating this altar requires 4 Emperor-grade origin crystals. Jinlan flicked his wrist, and 4 origin crystals instantly appeared in his hand. Jinlan moved his feet and placed the origin crystals around the altar. Then, he walked toward the center of the altar. "Wait." Ningyu grabbed Jinlan and said in a deep voice, The The scarred, bloodthirsty mad wolf, and the others aren't here yet. Wait a little longer. Are you crazy? Do you really think they can make it here? Jinlan was shocked. He looked at Ningyu like he was an idiot. I have to remind you that activating the altar requires 4 Emperor-grade origin crystals, and I happen to only have 4 of them on me. If we can't enter the altar within 3 minutes, we'll be trapped in the void secret realm until the next batch of people enters. Only then can we borrow a few Emperor-grade origin crystals from them. Wait, Ningyu did not waste time talking nonsense with Jinlan. His tone was unquestionable. At this moment, Ningyu even wanted to leave a trace of his soul force in Jinlan's consciousness to prevent her from exposing herself when she left the void secret realm. However, Ningyu knew what was most important right now. The most important thing was not to find a way to control Jinlan, but to ensure that the scarred, bloodthirsty mad wolf and the ferocious mad wolf could make it here successfully. Is there a problem with the spatial laws? Ningyu began to contact the spatial laws to find out what was going on. There's an accident. It might take a few minutes for those 2 bloodthirsty mad wolves to make it here smoothly, the spatial laws said. In fact, the spatial laws were a little anxious. This was the first time he was doing something for Ningyu since he was born. The reason why he was so proactive at the beginning was that he wanted to use Ningyu to obtain more primordial pill essence. Generally speaking, rare treasures like the primordial pill essence were indispensable for the spatial laws to evolve. If he messed up the first time he helped Ningyu, even if Ningyu obtained the primordial pill essence again, he might not necessarily give it to him. Therefore, the spatial laws were even more anxious than Ningyu. Drip. Time passed quickly. Soon, a minute had passed. Ningyu's expression was devoid of emotion. There was no change in his expression. Although Ningyu's expression did not change, Jinlan was extremely worried. Jinlan even made up her mind that once the time was up, she would enter the altar at all costs and leave this place. Drip. In the blink of an eye, 2 minutes passed. Ningyu still did not move, but Jinlan moved his feet and slowly approached the altar. Ningyu saw Jinlan's little action, but Ningyu did not say anything. After all, Jinlan was only a 7th grade human supreme. It would be very difficult to enter the altar under his nose. Time was still passing quickly. The 3-minute countdown was about to end, but the Scar Mad Wolf and the others were still in the space and had not appeared. It'll be too late if we don't leave now, Jinlan shouted, hoping to wake Ningyu up. However, Ningyu's expression was still the same. There was no change in his expression. 10 seconds, 9 seconds, 8 seconds, 3 seconds, 2 seconds. Just when there were 2 seconds left, Jinlan suddenly took out a scroll and threw it at Ningyu. Chapter 1344. Chapter 1344. Chapter 1344 Secrets of the Kim Family Rumble. However, before Jinlan could rush into the altar, a golden light shone brightly around the altar. Swish, swish, swish. Following that, the space above the altar suddenly split open, and several figures rapidly flew out from the spatial crack. What? The sudden change caused Jinlan's expression to change drastically. He could not help but cry out. Looking carefully, there were a total of 16 martial artists around the altar. These 16 martial artists were clearly divided into 5 camps. The reason why Jinlan was shocked was because the cultivation of these cultivators were all at the pinnacle 9th grade sovereign realm. Moreover, Jinlan had seen a few of them before. Go! Jinlan's mind raced. Without any hesitation, she immediately turned around and flew toward Ningyu. I can't believe it. After flying a few steps, Jinlan came to a stop and even cursed. The reason Jinlan had such a reaction was because Ningyu had already disappeared from her sight. Whoosh! Since Jinlan could see the Jin family could naturally see Jinlan as well. The other forces did not linger around the altar. They knew what their mission was, so they spread out as soon as they appeared, searching for opportunities in the city. Before entering the giant city, their respective ancestors had personally warned them. There was a secret to cultivating to the Earth Supreme stage in the giant city. As long as they could find something in the giant city, they could even raise their cultivation to the 1st grade Earth Supreme realm before leaving. Although they were all geniuses at the pinnacle of ninth grade sovereign realm, they were only a step away from advancing to first grade Earth sovereign realm. However, this threshold was not so easy to cross. Since ancient times, how many outstanding geniuses have been trapped at this barrier and were unable to advance their entire lives? Now that they had a chance to advance to the Earth sovereign realm, how could they let it go? As for the people of the Gene family, their thoughts were very simple. They had a backup plan and were fearless. Even if the other sex obtained great fortunes, they wouldn't have any reaction because those fortunes were destined to belong to the Gene family. Gene Lon, why are you here? The four peak ninth grade human supremes of the Gene family walked toward Gene Lon together. Although the four experts of the Gene clan were all pinnacle ninth grade sovereigns, the other three were surrounding a yellow-haired young man. Obviously, this yellow-haired young man was the leader of the four warriors from the Gene family. The yellow-haired man smiled and looked at Gene Lon in confusion. He said, 3 days ago, you entered the void mystery realm with Gene Yemming. Why didn't I see her? Humph. Golden Rock, what do you mean by this? How could Gene Lon not know what the yellow-haired man meant? Her expression changed, and she snorted coldly. Although I entered the empty pocket realm with Gene Yemming, you should know very well that once we leave the giant city, we will be randomly transported to different areas. How would I know when Gene Yemming will return? Don't be angry. A beautiful girl like you won't look good if you're angry. The Golden Rock shrugged and said, You entered the city earlier than us, so I'm afraid you've obtained many benefits here, right? Whether I've obtained benefits or not has nothing to do with you, Gene Lon said in a deep voice. Gene Lon spoke in a low voice. My grandfather personally sent me into the void secret realm. You should be aware of the consequences if I encounter any danger here. Swish! The expressions of the Golden Rock and the others instantly darkened when they heard Gene Lan's words. In the Qinya Empire, the Gene clan was very, very big. Although the Qinya Empire was controlled by Golden Rock's bloodline, Gene Lan's bloodline was not to be underestimated. Especially Gene Lan's grandfather, who had been a half-step Sky Supreme decades ago. After so many years, it was rumored that he had already become a Sky Supreme. The weight of a Sky Supreme was very heavy, enough to make Golden Rock not dare to cause trouble. Let's go. After glaring at Gene Lon, Golden Rock waved his hand and quickly left with the other three warriors from the Gene clan. However, no one noticed that before Golden Rock left, a cold light suddenly flew out of his sleeve. The cold light was very fast, and in the blink of an eye, it disappeared into Gene Lan's hair. Phew! Golden Rock only let out a long sigh when he was far away. To be honest, Gene Lon was not sure if he could fool Golden Rock. Decades ago, he was indeed a half-step Sky Supreme, and he was the warrior with the highest chance of becoming a Sky Supreme in the entire Qinya Empire. However, something happened recently that put his bloodline in the eye of the storm. 3 years ago, her grandfather took the initiative to break through to the Sky Supreme level, but something happened. Although he had managed to survive, he had also suffered a fatal injury. He needed a soul stone to recover smoothly. It seems that Golden Rock's ancestor didn't spread such an important matter. Gene Lon took a deep breath and said, I have to find Ningyu and work with him to find a way to obtain a soul stone in the giant city. In an instant, Gene Lon made up his mind. He had to work with Ningyu. You need a soul stone, and so does the Gene clan. Tell me what's going on. At that moment, the void beside Gene Lon suddenly split open. Then a huge hand reached out and grabbed Gene Lon. Swish! This change was clearly beyond Gene Lan's expectations. She did not expect Ningyu to be so bold. For a moment, she did not react. Before long, Gene Lon appeared in a house that wasn't too spacious. Creak! At that moment, the door was pushed open, and Ningyu slowly walked in. Speak. Tell me everything. If you dare to hide anything, I can guarantee that you will regret it. Ningyu walked up to Gene Lon and asked, Why do you need a soul stone? Why do I need a soul stone? Gene Lon played dumb and said, I don't need a soul stone. It's Gene, E, and the others who need one. Ha ha. Looks like you won't shed a tear until you see your coffin. With a smile, Ningyu flicked his wrist, and a soul stone appeared in his hand. What? Seeing the soul stone in Ningyu's hand, Jinlan cried out, her face full of shock. The reason why Jinlan had such a big reaction was because she did not know that Ningyu had obtained 2 soul stones back at Celestial Alchemy Hall. If she had known, she would not have fallen out with Ningyu. Instead, she would have stood firmly on Ningyu's side. After all, whether her grandfather could recover completely depended on the soul stone. Sell this soul stone to me. I'm willing. Jinlan clenched her teeth and said, I'm willing to pay anything. I don't want to say the same thing a second time. Ningyu shook his head. He did not want Jinlan to pay anything. He just wanted to know the specific situation of the Jin clan. He had not even arrived at the Thousand Leaf Empire, and he had already inexplicably offended the Jin clan. Paper could not contain fire. One could imagine the consequences once the Jin clan found out what happened in the Void Secret Realm. Chapter 1345. Chapter 1345. Chapter 1345. The Golden Rock arrived. All right, I'll tell you everything. When Jinlan saw the change in Ningyu's expression, he knew Ningyu was angry. She had personally witnessed Ningyu's combat strength. If she were to offend Ningyu at this time, she would not be able to bear the consequences. After sorting out his thoughts, Jinlan said, there are a total of 3 bloodlines in the Qinya Empire's Jin clan. One of them controls the Qinya Empire, which is the bloodline that Jin Yi and Jin Liefei are in. They control everything in the Qinya Empire. The reason why they can control the Thousand Leaves Empire is because their ancestor has long since become a Sky Supreme. He's extremely powerful. The other bloodline has the highest cultivation at the quasi-heavenly sovereign realm. They're weaker than Jin Yi's bloodline, but they're not weak either. They control a massive city in the Thousand Leaf Empire, the Guanshan City. In our bloodline, the highest cultivation is a quasi-heavenly supreme, and we're the weakest amongst the 3 bloodlines of the Jin clan. Jinlan spoke slowly and told Ningyu many secrets about the Jin family. However, Ningyu knew that Jinlan would definitely not tell him the most confidential information. Ningyu did not want to know any deeper secrets. What he wanted to know was whether Jinlan's patriarch was injured or not, and if there was a chance that he could stand on the same side as him. Jinlan knew very well that Ningyu would definitely not be satisfied with what she said. Gritting his teeth, Jinlan continued, the reason why I want the Soul Stone is because my grandfather failed to reach the Sky Supreme realm. He's fallen ill, and I need the Soul Stone to recover. After saying that, Jinlan stared intently into Ningyu's eyes, trying to figure out something from Ningyu's eyes. But Jinlan was disappointed. Ningyu's expression did not change at all. The Soul Stone is very precious. What price are you willing to pay? After pondering for a moment, Ningyu said, if you can take out the corresponding treasures, I might consider giving you the Soul Stone. Jinlan said solemnly, as long as you give me the Soul Stone, I can guarantee your safety in the Thousand Leaf Empire from now on. No one will dare to kill you. At this moment, Jinlan had to stand firmly behind Ningyu, because if he hesitated, Ningyu would change his mind. Gotcha! Suddenly, the door was blasted open by a huge force. Ha ha ha! Looks like the thing Patriarch gave me is really useful. I really found you by searching for your aura. Before the person arrived, his wild laughter could be heard. Swish, 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 swish. Then, 4 figures entered the room. It's you. When Jinlan saw these 4 figures, his expression changed drastically. These 4 figures were none other than the 4 young warriors of the Jin family, Jin Peng and the others. Of course it's us. The corner of the rock's lips curled up as his gaze landed on Ningyu. Young man, I didn't think you would have the Soul Stone. Hand it over, and I will spare your life. Who do you think you are? You're not fit to talk to me like that. Ningyu's expression was dark as he spoke coldly. Young man, you're too arrogant. Before Jin Peng could reply, a pinnacle grade 9 sovereign beside him suddenly rushed out and threw a punch at Ningyu. Facing the approaching figure, Ningyu's expression did not change. He stood where he was without any reaction. This action of Ningyu made the other 2 experts of the Jin family laugh loudly. Ha ha ha. Jean Jean, you have to teach him a lesson and let him know how powerful you are. That's right. An initial grade 7 sovereign actually looks down on you. Looks like you don't have much power in the Thousand Leaf Empire. Oof. Being ridiculed by his two companions, the young man called Jean Jean coldly snorted and said, "Young man, I won't kill you. I will only beat you until you vomit blood." Swish! Jean Jean's speed was very fast. Almost in an instant, he arrived before Ningyu. His right hand clenched into a fist and suddenly punched out. Gotcha! In the next instant, a crisp sound rang out. Swish! Then, a figure rapidly retreated, slamming heavily into the wall, and finally fell to the ground with his face on the ground. Rustle! The sudden change caused the two young cultivators of the Jean family, and even Jean Peng, to widen their eyes with disbelief on their faces. Because the one that lost wasn't Ningyu, but Jean Jean. In an instant, the entire place turned silent. Arg! After a brief silence, Jean Jean raised his head and yelled, "I'll kill you. I'll tear you apart. I'll tear you into pieces." Jean Jean was furious. He was a pinnacle grade 9 sovereign, a peerless genius of the Jean family's younger generation. In order to be arrogant, he had only used 50% of his strength in that move earlier. Originally, he thought that with 50% of his strength, he could easily heavily injure Ningyu. Who would have thought that he would fail miserably? Great Jean Fist. Slapping his hands on the ground, Jean Jean rapidly shot out. Waving his right hand, terrifying energy coiled around it. Jean Jean punched out, bringing along violent energy gales. Careless. Jean Jean was definitely careless. That punch just now, Jean Jean only used 50% of his strength. This punch, Jean Jean used 100% of his strength. That brat will definitely be heavily injured, even turning into an idiot. Great Jean Fist was Jean Jean's famed consummate skill. Even in the pill formation continent, Jean Jean could rely on the Great Jean Fist to gain a place. There shouldn't be any problems this time. Jean Peng's eyes were deep, staring fixedly at Ningyu. He wanted to see if Ningyu could stir up any waves again. Poochie! What happened next left Jean Peng dumbfounded on the spot. Only to see Jean Jean fly out once more, his body smashing heavily into the wall, even smashing through the wall. Fresh blood spurted out. Jean Jean's aura grew weak, feeling like he would stop breathing at any moment. Brat, you're courting death. Seeing Jean Jean's miserable state, Jean Peng could no longer remain calm. He knew that he had met his match. However, Jean Peng did not fear any opponent. His figure flashed, quickly charging towards Ningyu, wanting to take down Ningyu with lightning-quick methods. Only then could he alleviate his declining situation and regain face for the Jean family. Facing Jean Peng's attack, Ningyu still had that appearance, calm and collected, not even having the intention of making a move. To actually dare look down on Jean Peng, you will what? Even though Jean Jean was blasted back, his gaze always remained on Ningyu. He wanted to see Ningyu's miserable state, wanted to see Ningyu's situation when he was defeated by Jean Peng. Crack! Unfortunately, before Jean Peng could reach Ningyu's side, the void above his head suddenly split open. Then, a giant palm appeared, directly grabbing Jean Peng's neck. The palm exerted force slightly, breaking Jean Peng's neck. Swoosh! Jean Peng's soul wanted to escape, quickly fleeing. Ningyu suddenly brought out his soul battle body, devouring Jean Peng's soul as well. That's an Earth Sovereign. Jean Peng's quick death left the other 3 pinnacle 9th grade Earth Sovereigns of the Jean family dumbfounded. Even someone as powerful as Jean Peng was easily killed, not to mention them. Chapter 1346. Chapter 1346. Chapter 1346. All dead at the entrance of the empty secret realm. Although only the 8 great forces had the right to send their geniuses into the giant city, the rest of the forces did not leave. Everyone wanted to see if these geniuses could successfully advance to the Earth Sovereign realm. One should know that the geniuses who entered the giant city this time were the most outstanding talents of the major forces. In a certain sense, They represented the potential and strength of the younger generation of the major forces. For a long time, the four great forces had been competing with each other, and no one was willing to submit to the other. Perhaps, after today, the four forces would have a preliminary ranking. Jin Xiong, I heard that your Jin family's ancestor has prepared very well for this trip to the giant city. The first to speak was the Broken Dragon Valley's spiritual master Duanlong. Duanlong Daoist was extremely powerful, and there were rumors that he would break through to the heavenly supreme realm in the near future. If Daoist Duanlong succeeded in reaching the heavenly sovereign realm, then the balance between the four forces would be broken. Four of the top 10 young geniuses of the Broken Dragon Valley have come this time. Jin Xiong didn't want to be outdone. He put on a fake smile and said, "In our Jin family, except for Jin Peng, who can barely be ranked in the top 10 of the younger generation of the Jin family, the other three juniors are all outside the top 20. Puff. Hearing Jin Xiong's words, the surrounding martial artists nearly spat out a mouthful of old blood. The corner of Taoist master Duanlong's mouth twitched. He had seen shameless people, but he had never seen someone as shameless as Jin Xiong. Although Jin Peng's strength could not be ranked in the top 3 of the Jin family's younger generation, it was enough to be ranked in the top 4. It was far from what Jin Xiong had said, barely making it into the top 10. As for the other 3 geniuses, they were all ranked within the top 15 of the Jin clan. I wonder if those juniors managed to find any fortuitous encounters inside. Di Wuba's expression was indifferent as he said, "The huge city is unpredictable. If it wasn't for the fact that it has a fatal pressure on us, I would even want to go in and take a look." "You want to enter the giant city?" Jin Xiong curled his lips. If even those with one foot in the heavenly supreme realm could enter the giant city, then it wouldn't be called the giant city. Di Wuba smiled but did not say anything. Being openly mocked by Di Wuba, Jin Xiong's expression turned ugly. However, Jin Xiong chose to endure it. "Just you wait, Punger is strong. This time, the geniuses of your sex will be..." The corners of Jin Xiong's mouth curled up as he spoke sinisterly. "Kacha!" However, before Jin Xiong's voice could fade, a clear voice rang out. Whoosh! The originally quiet area was attracted by this crisp sound. Everyone looked in the direction of the voice. A 5th-grade Earth Sovereign of the Jin clan widened his eyes with fear written on his face. "What is it? How can you not respect your elders? What a scandal!" Jin Xiong berated with a cold tone. There were so many sects here. If he showed such an expression here, he wouldn't be losing face, but the Jin family's face. Patriarch Jin Peng. The Jin clan's 5th-grade Earth Sovereign's mouth went dry, but he didn't say anything. "What happened to Peng? Jin Xiong asked coldly. "Goldenrock's soul tablet has shattered." As he spoke, the Jin clan's 5th-grade Earth Sovereign showed a relieved expression. "What?" Jin Xiong's eyes widened as he unleashed his aura. No one knew better than Jin Xiong what the shattering of a soul tablet meant. The shattering of a soul tablet meant that the soul had dissipated and could no longer be resurrected. Goldenrock was Jin Xiong's most beloved junior of the Jin clan. Now that his soul tablet had shattered, how could he not be furious? Actually, there was one thing that Jin Xiong didn't know. The soul tablets of the Jin clan that entered the Void's secret realm not long ago had shattered. Because Jin Xiong had left one after the other, Jin Xiong didn't know that their soul tablets had shattered. At this moment, the Jin clan was already in a mess. Naturally, Jin Xiong didn't know about this. Right now, he was more concerned about who killed Goldenrock. With a cold gaze, Jin Xiong first thought of the Broken Dragon Valley. In the Pellet Formation continent, everyone knew that the Broken Dragon Valley and the Jin clan weren't on good terms. So when Goldenrock was killed, everyone's first thought was the Broken Dragon Valley. "Jin Xiong, what do you mean by this?" Broken Dragon Venerable's face was cold as he said, "You suspect our Broken Dragon Valley without any evidence. Can I take it as the Jin clan's provocation? If that's what you want to think, I have no objections." Jin Xiong took a step forward, and his aura crazily pressed down on Broken Dragon Venerable. Puff! although Broken Dragon Venerable was only one step away from becoming a Sky Supreme. Under the pressure of Jin Xiong's powerful aura, Broken Dragon Venerable still spat out a mouthful of blood. I didn't expect you to advance to the half-step Sky Supreme realm. Wiping the blood from the corner of his mouth, Broken Dragon Venerable clenched his fists and said coldly, "When the geniuses of the Broken Dragon Valley come out, they will accompany me back to the Jin clan to be investigated." Jin Xiong's gaze swept across the crowd. The warriors that he swept across all chose to lower their heads or look away. Half-step Sky Supreme. Although it was only a half-step, it represented a supreme status. On the Pellet Formation continent, Sky Supremes were called Heavenly Venerables, while half-step Sky Supremes were called Little Heavenly Venerables. If a sect had a Little Heavenly Venerables, it could become a first-class force and laugh at the top of the Pellet Formation continent. Good, very good, very good. Being suppressed by Jin Xiong, Broken Dragon Venerable didn't dare to say anything. At the same time, Broken Dragon Venerable's heart was pounding. He knew very well that the four peerless geniuses of the Broken Dragon Valley had said that they would teach the Jin clan a lesson before they came here. Could it be that they had gone too far and killed the Jin family's golden rock? Broken Dragon Venerable muttered in his heart. He had to use a secret technique to contact the old ancestor to seek help. Crack, crack, crack. However, before Broken Dragon Venerable could use the secret technique, 3 crisp sounds resounded in the area. Plop. Looking at the 3 soul tablets that shattered, the 5th grade Earth Supreme of the Jin clan's eyes widened and his mouth opened wide. He directly fell to the ground. Broken dead, broken dead, broken. The 5th grade Earth Supreme of the Jin clan couldn't stop talking. His expression was absent-minded and his eyes were dull. Ah! Such a change was obviously out of everyone's expectation, including Jin Xiong. Jin Xiong raised his head and let out a furious roar. The rest of the warriors looked at each other in dismay. Which peerless genius could be so terrifying? They were the 4 peerless geniuses of the Jin clan. If the 4 of them joined forces, they could even fight against a 2nd grade or even a 3rd grade Earth Supreme, let alone a human Supreme. They could even counterattack if they used the trump card given by the old ancestor of the Jin clan. Who could be so powerful? How could he kill the 4 experts of the Jin family in such a short period of time? Could it be, in an instant, everyone thought of a possibility? Chapter 1347. Kill. Good, very good, very good. As the ruler of the Thousand Leaves Empire and the current patriarch of the Jin clan, Jin Xiong quickly calmed down. The deaths of Jin Peng and the others were very strange. Logically speaking, Jin Peng couldn't have died so quickly with so many trump cards. As for being besieged by everyone, Jin Xiong didn't even think about it. Although Jin Peng was very talented, he couldn't even be ranked in the top 3 among the younger generation of the Jin clan. Taking the risk of offending the Jin clan to kill Jin Peng and the others wasn't worth it. Everyone, I believe that Peng and the others' deaths have nothing to do with you. Jin Xiong swept his gaze across everyone and said, "However, in order to clear everyone's suspicion, I have a suggestion." "Why don't you say it?" Di Wuba said indifferently. Di Wuba's strength was unfathomable. Even though Jin Xiong was a half-step Heavenly Supreme, he was still fearless. "I would like to ask for your help to send a Grade 2 Earth Supreme into the city," said Jin Xiong. Everyone, including Di Wuba, fell silent. In the past, only Earth Sovereigns were allowed to stay in the city. As long as their cultivation was lower than or higher than an Earth Supreme, they would be teleported out of the city. Recently, the situation in the city had been very special. It could be said that it was a complete reversal. Earth Sovereigns couldn't enter, but human sovereigns could pay a huge price. In other words, if Jin Xiong wanted to send a Grade 2 Earth Supreme into the city, he would have to pay a huge price. "We can help, but you have to prepare the materials yourself." Di Wuba was the first to express his opinion. "I'll help as well. We must investigate this matter thoroughly. We must send a Grade 2 Earth Supreme into the city. In my opinion, we should send a Grade 5 Earth Supreme in to be safe." Then, the other forces reached an agreement. They would only provide manpower, but not materials. Umph. Taoist Master Duanlong snorted and didn't say anything. Since everyone is willing to give me face, then get ready. We will send a Grade 2 Earth Supreme into the city in half an hour. Jin Xiong's tone was cold. If anyone dares to screw up, don't blame me for being rude. Jin Xiong's last sentence was obviously directed at Master Duanlong. Venerable Duanlong gritted his teeth in anger, but there was nothing he could do. Who asked Jin Xiong to reach the quasi-heavenly sovereign realm before him? At this moment, he could only endure. Sha. At the same time, in the giant city. How troublesome. Looking at the corpses lying in front of him, Ningyu frowned slightly. After a bitter battle, Ningyu finally seized the opportunity to annihilate all 4 of the Jin clan's experts. With the primordial spirit battle body, their primordial spirits, naturally, could not escape. Among the younger generation of the Jin family, where are they ranked? Ningyu asked Jinlong. He wanted to understand the difference between them. After some thought, Jinlong told Ningyu, Golden Rock should be in 4th place. The other 3 are outside the top 10. Jinlong had clearly seen the palm that had stretched out from thin air. Scarred Bloodthirsty Madwolf. The owner of the palm was Scarred Bloodthirsty Madwolf. Scarred Bloodthirsty Madwolf was a Grade 6 Earth Supreme. With him around, Ningyu could do whatever he wanted in the giant city. However, Ningyu did not have that kind of thought. Right now, he was concerned about why Jin Peng and the others had entered the giant city. You should have seen them when they came in just now. Tell me about the forces. Ningyu pondered for a moment and asked. Broken Dragon Valley, Celestial Emperor Palace, and 100 Flower Palace. Jinlong thought about it and answered, I only remember there are geniuses from these 3 sections. As to where the others are from, I don't know. Celestial Emperor Palace, 100 Flower Palace. Ningyu frowned and murmured, enemies are bound to meet on a narrow road. Ningyu hated the Celestial Emperor Palace to the bone. Back then, the Celestial Emperor Palace had sent experts to encircle him in Ninghai. Fortunately, Reverend Spiritual Su had helped them. Otherwise, he and Ninghai would have been finished. Later on, the Celestial Emperor Palace had sent D.E. to encircle him. Ningyu had to take revenge no matter what. Come, let's go and meet those people from the Celestial Emperor Palace. With a wave of his hand, Ningyu stomped on the ground and dashed out of the room. Wait for me. Seeing that Ningyu had left, Jinlan's face turned a little ugly. But she had no choice. She needed the soul stone, so she could only follow behind Ningyu. Law of space, your perception is very strong. Can you sense where there are people in the giant city? Along the way, Ningyu constantly communicated with the law of space, hoping to find the 4 peerless geniuses of the Celestial Emperor Palace as soon as possible. Swish! Not long after, Ningyu stopped in front of Palace. There are people inside. Ningyu stopped in front of the palace and did not enter right away. Ningyu had never underestimated anyone, even if he had the help of Scar Berserk Wolf and Ferocious Berserk Wolf. Because Ningyu knew that a peerless genius like Jin Peng must have a trump card. He had to be careful when dealing with them. Boom! Inside the palace, a young man raised his right leg and kicked the wall beside him. Big brother, are you sure the information is accurate? Is it really possible to reach the Earth Sovereign Realm here? The man that the young man addressed as Big Brother was the peerless genius of the Celestial Emperor Palace, Di Chong, a pinnacle 9th grade sovereign. Di Chong did not answer the young man's question. Instead, he unleashed his perception and carefully probed the palace. Before coming here, Di Wuba had said that there was a treasure left behind by the Celestial Emperor Palace in this palace. But after coming here, Di Chong did not find any treasure and even found this place to be in a dilapidated state. You guys stay back. Di Chong took a deep breath and took out a jade bottle. Crack! The jade bottle shattered, and a drop of blood-red blood essence flew out. Sovereign blood essence. Ningyu couldn't help but blurt out when he sensed the horrifying aura coming from the drop of blood. The sovereign blood essence was extremely terrifying. Ningyu had obtained a drop of sovereign blood essence from the Celestial Dan Hall, but he did not try to refine it. But according to Ningyu's guess, if he could refine 1 drop of sovereign blood essence, his cultivation would instantly rise to the middle 7th grade sovereign or even the advanced 7th grade sovereign. If he could refine 2 drops of the sovereign's blood essence, Ningyu believed that he could definitely raise his cultivation to the 8th grade human sovereign realm. Who is it? Di Chang's hearing was extremely sharp. He noticed Ningyu just as he spoke. Di Chang flicked his wrist and kept the sovereign blood essence. He said in a deep voice, "May I know which force you are from? Please come out for a chat." Since he was discovered, Ningyu did not hide anymore. His figure flashed and appeared in the void. "It's you." Di Chang was stunned at first when he saw Ningyu's true appearance. Then he laughed maniacally. "Ha ha ha. You can wear out iron shoes in a fruitless search, only to find what you're looking for without even looking." Chapter 1348. Chapter 1348. Chapter 1348, Dark Gold Tiger. You know me? Ningyu didn't feel nervous because of Di Chang's words. Instead, he frowned and asked, "Am I that famous in the Dansheng mainland? Famous my *SS. Di Chang said coldly, "Your portrait is on the Divine Emperor Palace's must-kill list, and you're ranked at the top. The reward is very generous. Otherwise, do you think a small fry like you would attract my attention?" "All right." Ningyu shrugged. He wasn't embarrassed at all. "I think there might be some misunderstanding between us. Let's try to salvage the situation." Ningyu wasn't afraid of Di Chang, but he was buying time for the law of space. Ningyu was annoyed that he accidentally killed the 4 peerless geniuses of the Jin family. Now that there was a chance to capture the geniuses of the Divine Emperor Palace alive, Ningyu had to be careful. "Take him down." Di Chang didn't want to talk nonsense with Ningyu. Swish! As Di Chang's words fell, a peak grade 9 human supreme from Divine Emperor Palace moved. His name was Di Hua, and he was ranked 4th among the 4 peerless geniuses of the Divine Emperor Palace. Although Di Hua wasn't old, he was an experienced peerless 9th grade human supreme who had been stuck at this level for a year. "Ningyu, there's a way out for you. Today, I'll let you know that there's always someone better than you." As he spoke, Di Hua had already arrived in front of Ningyu. He clenched his right fist and punched at Ningyu's head. Ningyu sighed softly and said, "Alas, our relationship can really be salvaged. Wait till I kill you, then I'll save you," Di Hua said coldly. His fist brought with it a violent primordial chi gale as he punched at Ningyu's head. However, Di Hua's fist abruptly stopped a finger away from Ningyu's head. Crack! Ah! A crisp sound, accompanied by a pig's shriek, rang out in the area. A giant hand suddenly appeared out of thin air and grabbed Di Hua's fist, exerting a bit of force. Di Hua was only a pinnacle 9th grade human sovereign, while the scarred bloodthirsty wolf was a 6th grade Earth Supreme. The scarred bloodthirsty mad wolf didn't even use half of its strength to crush Di Hua's fist. What? The sudden change caused Di Chang's expression to change drastically. Di Chang had originally thought that it would be a piece of cake for Di Hua to kill Ningyu. Who would have thought that the outcome would exceed Di Chang's expectations? Di Hua had been defeated by a giant palm. Di Chang would never have expected such a situation. Attack together. Kill him for me. Di Chang was extremely furious. He felt that his dignity had been challenged. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. This time, not only did the other 2 peak 9th grade human supremacies move, even Di Chang moved. 3 against 1. 3 powerful geniuses from Emperor Divine Palace besieged Ningyu. Rumble. The moment Di Chang and company set off, a rumble sounded before they even arrived in front of Ningyu. Upon hearing that voice, Di Chang and the others stopped in their tracks and did not advance any further. Shit! Ningyu's heart skipped a beat when he heard the sound, and he quickly retreated. Crack! In the process of Ningyu's retreat, the ground where he was just standing cracked open, and a behemoth suddenly rushed out from within. Roar! The massive creature raised its head and let out a roar before its gaze fell onto Di Chang. Hand over the sovereign's blood essence, and I can guarantee your safety. Lord Dark Golden Mystic Tiger, we're here to save you. Di Chang's expression was extremely respectful as he took out a jade bottle and threw it to the Dark Golden Mystic Tiger. Evidently, The jade bottle contained the sovereign's blood essence. Attack! We can't let the dark golden mystic tiger obtain the sovereign's blood essence. Ningyu's expression was indifferent as he immediately ordered. The dark golden mystic tiger's cultivation was at the 5th grade Earth Sovereign realm. If it obtained the sovereign's blood essence, the consequences would be unimaginable. The dark golden mystic tiger was even more terrifying than the bloodthirsty wild wolf. The bloodthirsty wild wolf couldn't even fight back against the dark golden mystic tiger of the same level. Only by killing the dark golden mystic tiger before it obtained the sovereign's blood essence would they be able to resolve the problem. Russell. Therefore, Ningyu and the rest made their move. The scarred wild wolf and ferocious wild wolf dealt with the dark golden mystic tiger, while Ningyu charged towards the jade bottle. You're courting death. Seeing Ningyu's actions, Di Chang's face drastically changed as he coldly barked. Di Chang and company's main mission in entering the huge city was to rescue the dark gold mystic tiger. Their secondary mission was to think of a way to advance to the Earth Supreme realm. Although the dark golden mystic tiger was only at the 5th grade Earth Sovereign realm, it could quickly recover to its peak state with sufficient resources. Most importantly, the dark golden mystic tiger was too important to the Emperor Palace, as it was the mount of the 2nd Palace Master of the Emperor Palace. As long as they could take the dark golden mystic tiger away, the Emperor Palace could dominate the pellet formation continent in less than 10 years. Speed up. Ningyu didn't care about Di Chang's reaction. In short, his target was the jade bottle, the sovereign's blood essence. For this target, Ningyu didn't hesitate to burn his blood essence to increase his speed. Boom! In the blink of an eye, Ningyu grabbed the jade bottle and quickly retreated. However, Di Chang wasn't someone to be trifled with. In order to grab the jade bottle, Ningyu had to take a punch from Di Chang. Di Chang was slightly stronger than the golden rock. Being punched in the chest by Di Chang, Ningyu vomited a mouthful of blood. Red Demon Sword. Keeping the jade bottle, Ningyu wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth and took out the Red Demon Sword. Glancing at the other side of the battlefield, Ningyu felt slightly relieved. The dark golden mystic tiger was fighting 1 against 2, but it didn't gain the upper hand. The scarred mystic wolf and the ferocious bloodthirsty wolf managed to hold their ground. Law of space. Think of a way to cut open space. We need to leave as soon as possible. With the Red Demon Sword in hand, Ningyu fought fiercely with Di Chang and the others while he contacted the Law of Space. If the battle went on like this, the one who would lose would definitely be Ningyu. There was no doubt about that. It was impossible for Ningyu to fight 1 against 4 unless he advanced again. He's so strong. Although Ningyu was being suppressed by Di Chang and the others, in Jinlan's eyes, he was like a god of war. Jinlan knew that Ningyu was strong, but he didn't expect Ningyu to be this strong. The previous few times, it was the scarred, bloodthirsty wolf who attacked, and Ningyu only cheered from behind. This time, it was Ningyu who took the initiative to fight the 4 peerless geniuses from Divine Emperor Palace. I have to tell Grandpa to do everything I can to rope in Ningyu. Jinlan secretly made up his mind not to be enemies with Ningyu anymore. He had a rope in Ningyu. As long as a peerless genius like Ningyu could grow up, he would be able to destroy the world. Moreover, Ningyu's combat strength was so strong, so the faction behind him must not be weak. Joining forces with Ningyu and befriending him was equivalent to befriending the faction behind him. Wait a little longer. I'll make a move when Ningyu can't hold on any longer. That way, he will owe me a favor. Chapter 1349. Chapter 1349. Chapter 1349. Fusion. The scroll in Jinlan's hand was her trump card. It was the trump card she had always been fearless about. The scroll was an ancient scroll, and the might of its explosion was terrifying. Even 9th grade Earth Sovereign might not be able to survive the explosion. However, the scroll was a one-time use item. As long as his opponent could dodge it, Jinlan would have no more trump cards left. Therefore, unless it was a matter of life and death, Jinlan would never use the scroll. The current situation was not dangerous enough for Jinlan, because Ningyu could still persevere. What a freak. Jinlong muttered as he took a few steps back. Ding! In midair, Ningyu held the red fiend sword as he fought Di Chong for dozens of rounds. Neither of them could do a thing to the other. As expected of an existence on the must-kill list. He does have some skill. Di Chang's expression was extremely grim. After dozens of exchanges, Di Chong had already determined that there was a huge gap between him and Ningyu. If not for Di Hua and the others helping him, he would have been killed long ago. How is it? Can you subdue him? Ningyu couldn't be bothered with Di Chong. Although he was fighting with Di Chong, his attention was on the scarred wolf. The dark old profound tiger was even more terrifying than the bloodthirsty wild wolves. A single dark old profound tiger could kill several bloodthirsty wild wolves. If he could capture the dark gold profound tiger while it was heavily injured, it would be a rare trump card for Ningyu. We can't. He's too strong, and he has a lot of battle experience. We can only defend, but we can't subdue him, the scarred wolf replied. It could be seen that the scarred wolf was having a hard time. If the dark gold profound tiger hadn't been injured, he and the bloodthirsty mad wolf would have been killed long ago. Damn it, Ningyu cursed inwardly. At the same time, he hurriedly contacted the spatial laws, telling him to cut open space as soon as possible and think of a way to escape. Give me 5 minutes. The indifferent voice of the law of space resounded in Ningyu's mind. Kill. Ningyu was not an indecisive person. Since he couldn't leave in 5 minutes, he decided to take action first. He waved the red fiend sword in his hand, and several sword rays shot out, slashing at Di Chong. Whoosh! 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 3 pinnacle 9th grade human supremacies rushed out and stood in front of Di Chong. Chi! The sword rays that Ningyu sent out were blocked by 3 9th grade human sovereigns. I have 3 helpers. How are you going to fight me? The corners of Di Chang's lips curled up as he said sinisterly, This shall be your burial ground. This, 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 this good timing. This, 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 I, this, 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 this buzz. On the other side, an illusory figure appeared and gradually became real. What a coincidence. That's just my afterimage. Ningyu suddenly appeared behind the 3 peerless experts from Emperor God Palace. Not good, retreat quickly. Di Chang's expression changed drastically when he saw Ningyu's location, and he hurriedly called out, Pu. However, Di Chang's warning was a beat too late. Ningyu wielded the red demon sword and slashed out 3 times in a row. Without a doubt, Ningyu did not hold back. Each of the 3 swords was aimed at the heart of a 9th grade human sovereign. Seeing that Ningyu had killed 3 of his companions with 3 strikes, Di Chong let out a hysterical roar. Di Chong was filled with regret. He regretted trying to be clever. If he hadn't wanted to show off and ambush Ningyu, the 3 geniuses from Emperor God Palace wouldn't have been killed. However, it was all over now. Di Chong knew that he had to salvage the situation. Fight! Clenching his teeth, Di Chong took out a white elixir from his pocket and threw it into his mouth. Crack! The elixir shattered and entered his stomach. Rumble! Di Chang's aura began to surge. Pinnacle 9th grade human sovereign, half-step Earth Supreme. Boom! Along with that muffled sound, Di Chang's aura had already broken through his limits and reached the 1st grade Earth Sovereign realm. Di Chong was originally only a pinnacle 9th grade human sovereign, far weaker than Ningyu. If he fought with Ningyu, he would definitely be killed. But now, his aura had risen to first-grade Earth Supreme, and his strength had increased by several times. I'll take your life. Di Chang was more confident now that his aura had increased. Di Chang's figure dashed out and appeared before Ningyu in the blink of an eye. He clenched his right hand into a fist and punched towards Ningyu's head with a violent Yuan Qi gale. Di Chang's punch could be said to be the most powerful punch he could execute at this stage. If that punch failed to kill Ningyu, Di Chang would definitely turn around and leave. He would not stay any longer. Do you want to fight me? Ningyu's eyes narrowed as he looked at the approaching fist. The Yuan Qi in his sea of consciousness began to tumble and wrap around his right fist. Whoosh! In the next moment, Ningyu bent his knees slightly and punched out with his right fist. The wind from the punch howled and dispersed the air, leaving a vacuum in the middle. Bang! A crisp sound rang out. Ningyu and Di Chang took a few steps back at the same time and retreated to the edge of the hall. Both sides were evenly matched in this exchange. No one could do anything to the other. He can even fight a first-grade Earth Supreme. Jinlan was shocked. Jinlan knew that Ningyu was strong and that Ningyu could fight 4 people at once. But he did not expect Ningyu to be so strong that he could fight a first-grade Earth Supreme. That was an Earth Supreme, not an ordinary human Supreme. There was an insurmountable gap between an Earth Supreme and a human Supreme. It could be said that 10 pinnacle 9th-grade Earth Supremes might not be a match for a first-grade Earth Supreme. This huge gap was easily filled by Ningyu. Moreover, Ningyu is not even a pinnacle 9th-grade Earth Supreme. He was just an ordinary 7th-grade Earth Supreme. This is impossible. No one was more shocked than Di Chang. In the past, whenever Di Chang encountered an opponent he could not defeat, he would swallow elixirs to raise his aura to that of a first-grade Earth Supreme. This method had been effective time and time again. Who would have thought that he would fail this time and be blocked by Ningyu? I admit that you are strong, but the next move will definitely. Di Chang took a deep breath and said coldly, definitely my A** guess. Take this. Ningyu's tone was cold. He held the myriad bone flame in his left hand and the myriad beast flame in his right. Under Di Chang's horrified gaze, Ningyu fused the 2 flames together. Go! As Ningyu uttered the word go, a bewitching flame roared and charged at Di Chang. Sizzle, sizzle, sizzle. Wherever the flames passed, the air was completely scorched, emitting a sizzling sound. What the hell is that? Chapter 1350. Attack. Something that will take your life. Ningyu's eyes glinted with a cold light. He stomped on the ground and chased after her. Although the myriad bestial flame and myriad bone flame were extremely powerful and could contend against a first-grade Earth Supreme, Di Chang's aura was also that of a first-grade Earth Supreme. To ensure that nothing went wrong, Ningyu held the red fiend sword and injected the primordial energy in his sea of consciousness into it before slashing at Di Chang. Hit the snake where it hurts, don't hold back. Since he had decided to kill Di Chang, Ningyu would definitely not hold back. Arg! The flames in Di Chang's eyes grew bigger and bigger. In the end, the flames suddenly exploded and hit Di Chang's heart. A miserable shriek came from Di Chang's mouth. Rumble. Then, the flames drilled into Di Chang's body and rammed around. Get out! Di Chang yelled, trying to force the flames out of his body. However, no matter how hard he tried, he couldn't do it. Moreover, Ningyu had also arrived in front of him. He waved the red fiend sword in his hand and fought with Di Chang. The flames in Di Chang's body were wreaking havoc, but he still had to face Ningyu's fierce attacks. Soon, Di Chang couldn't hold on any longer and was stabbed by Ningyu repeatedly. Di Chang's face turned extremely ugly as blood continued to drip from his body. Di Chang thought that he could kill Ningyu when his aura was strengthened to that of a first-grade Earth Supreme. However, the current situation had exceeded Di Chang's expectations, and he felt like he was being F***ed. You forced me to do this. Di Chang clenched his teeth, and the Yuan Qi in his consciousness surged out, forming a layer of Yuan Qi barrier around him. Get out! Di Chang yelled. He even burned his blood essence to force the flames out of his body. Qi! Qi! Outside the Yuan Qi barrier, every strike from Ning Yu caused the Yuan Qi barrier to tremble and show signs of shattering. At this rate, it wouldn't take long for the Yuan Qi barrier to shatter. When that happened, the consequences would be unimaginable if Di Chong failed to force out the flames in his body. Absolute defense. Ning Yu did not forcefully attack Di Chong when he saw a protective Yuan Qi barrier appear around him. Instead, he took a few steps back. In order to defend against Ning Yu's attack, Di Chong had paid a huge price. This level of defense had a huge impact on one's body. It would be fine if he succeeded, but if he failed, Di Chong would be completely doomed. There would be no chance of him surviving. Roar! While Di Chong was doing his best to force back the flames in his body, the battle on the other side was already tilting. The dark gold mystical tiger raised its head and roared. Seizing a rare opportunity, it swung its front claws and grabbed the back of the bloodthirsty berserk wolf. Whoosh! A large piece of flesh was torn off. Immediately after, the dark gold mystic tiger swung its tail and ruthlessly whipped the scarred wolf's hind leg. Kacha! A crisp sound rang out. The scarred, bloodthirsty mad wolf staggered and nearly fell. Oh no! Ning Yu gritted his teeth when he saw the scarred wolf and the ferocious wolf's tragic state, and secretly communicated with the myriad bestial flame and myriad bone flame. Let's go! At the same time, Ning Yu's figure flashed, and he quickly swept past the scarred wolf and the ferocious wolf. With the help of spatial laws, Ning Yu grabbed the scarred wolf and the ferocious wolf with each hand and quickly entered the void, disappearing completely. Wait for me! Jinlan was alarmed when he saw Ning Yu leave. He hurriedly used a secret technique and disappeared behind Ning Yu. If someone as strong as Ning Yu chose to leave, Jinlan would definitely die if he stayed. Chi! Chi! After Ning Yu and company left, the myriad bestial flame and myriad bone flame rushed out of Di Chang's body and made a turn in midair before tearing through the void and chasing after Ning Yu and company. Roar! The dark gold mystic tiger roared angrily when it was about to kill the two wolves, only to be rescued by a human. However, the tigers seemed to be more concerned about the altar and did not chase after them. Give me the sovereign blood essence. Although the tiger was furious, it did not lose its mind. This hall was very special, and it could not leave even if it wanted to. Unless it recovered to the 6th grade Earth Supreme level, it would never be able to leave this hall. Lord Dark Gold Mystic Tiger, the sovereign blood essence was taken by Ning Yu. Di Chong was extremely weak at the moment. If it wasn't for the tiger, he would have been tortured by the flames. Even though the flames had receded, Di Chang's internal organs were still severely injured. It would be difficult for him to recover without a year and a half. What? The tiger's eyes widened when it heard Di Chang's words. It said coldly, "The sovereign blood essence was taken. What are you doing? I'll give you an hour. No matter what, you must take the sovereign blood essence. Otherwise, I'll swallow you alive." The dark gold mystic tiger was extremely furious. He wasn't worried that the two bloodthirsty berserk wolves had left because they wouldn't be able to escape from his grasp. He had already left a mark on Scar and the wolves during the battle. As long as he found the mark, he could easily find the wolves. But now, the dark gold mystic tiger wanted to swallow Di Chong alive. The sovereign blood essence was the key to him recovering to the 6th grade Earth Supreme level. Without the sovereign blood essence, he would never be able to leave this place. Lord Dark Gold Mystic Tiger, don't worry. I'll definitely find the sovereign blood essence for you, Di Chong said in a trembling voice. He did not even dare to speak loudly. What are you waiting for? Roared the dark gold, profound tiger. Yes, Di Chong did not dare to delay. He hurriedly crawled away from the back of the hall. The main entrance of the hall? Di Chong did not have the guts. If Ning Yu and the others were not far away and were waiting outside, wouldn't he be walking into a trap? Ning Yu, I'll remember you. Di Chong gritted his teeth and clenched his fists. He took out a scroll and carved a line of words with his soul force. A purple flame appeared on his fingertip and burned the scroll into ashes. Crack! At the same time, outside the void secret realm, Di Wuba's face was ashen and bloodless. Not long ago, the three peerless geniuses from the Emperor Palace also had their soul tablets shattered. The shattering of their soul tablets meant that the three peerless geniuses had suffered the same fate as the geniuses from the Jin clan. The only thing that comforted Di Wuba was that Di Chong of Emperor God Palace was still alive and had not been killed. Di Wuba, the geniuses from the Emperor Palace are also dead? The shattering of the soul tablets of the three peerless geniuses from the Emperor Palace could not escape Jin Xiong's detection. In other words, the senses of all the ninth-grade Earth sovereigns present could not escape his detection. Jin Xiong's face was filled with doubt. The peerless geniuses from the Emperor Palace are stronger than Jin Peng and the others. How'd they die? Cut the CR**P. Di Wuba said coldly. Something must have happened in the city. Otherwise, there wouldn't be so many peerless geniuses dying in there. In my opinion. Chapter 1351. Re-entry. After reading the information on the scroll, Di Wuba's expression turned colder. He even withdrew his aura. Sha. Di Wuba's actions caused the surrounding cultivators to retreat, not daring to approach. In the Pill Formation continent, many people knew about Di Wuba. Whenever Di Wuba revealed such an expression, it meant that he was about to erupt, completely erupt. Rumble. Sure enough, after a short silence, Di Wuba's aura burst forth, soaring into the sky. Quasi-heavenly sovereign. I never expected that Di Wuba would also reach the quasi-heavenly sovereign realm and enter the lesser heavenly sovereign palace, reaching the heavens in a single bound. Although a pinnacle ninth-grade Earth sovereign is powerful, compared to a little heavenly sovereign, it's like heaven and earth. That's right. In the four sects, Di Wuba is a little heavenly sovereign, Jin Xiong is a little heavenly sovereign, Taoist Master Duanlong is a peak grade 9 human sovereign, and Fairy Yunxi of the Hundred Flowers Palace should also be a peak grade 9 human sovereign. It seems that Emperor Divine Palace and Jin family are going to suppress the other two sections. The discussions of the cultivators did not affect Di Wuba. His aura continued to rise, showing no signs of weakening. What? Is Di Wuba trying to break through to the heavenly supreme realm here? Impossible, right? Everyone exclaimed. Di Wuba's current state was clearly that of a heavenly supreme. A little heavenly sovereign breaking through to the heavenly supreme realm was an important matter in any sect. He needed to activate the sect's grand array, prepare all sorts of treasures, and invite a few sky supremes to protect him. After all, breaking through to the heavenly supreme realm was a matter of great importance. It concerned the rise and fall of the sect, so they couldn't be careless. What was Di Wuba trying to do? There was no one here to protect him, and even if he succeeded in reaching the heavenly supreme realm, Jin Xiong and the rest wouldn't be willing. If, at the critical moment, Jin Xiong and the others gave him a ruthless blow, wouldn't he be finished? Who? As it turned out, Di Wuba was not an idiot. Just as his aura was about to reach its peak, Di Wuba suddenly retracted it and sent all of his aura into his body. Not simple. He's only a paper-thin distance away from the Sky Supreme realm. Jin Xiong's expression changed. He was a little Empyrean, so he knew more about this domain than others. With Di Wuba's current state, he had a 20% chance of breaking through to the heavenly supreme realm. As for him, he only had a 10% chance. In terms of raw strength, he was no match for Di Wuba. Something has happened in the city. I suggest sending a 7th grade Earth Sovereign in, Di Wuba said coldly. He was determined to shock everyone to death. A 7th grade Earth Sovereign? Hearing Di Wuba's words, the crowd was first taken aback. Then, they started discussing among themselves. The giant city greatly suppresses Earth Sovereigns. Even a 2nd grade Earth Sovereign might not be able to survive, not to mention a 7th grade Earth Sovereign. The altar in the huge city is very special. Any warrior who enters it will be randomly teleported to various places in the empty mystery zone. Just now, I helped the Jin clan send a grade 2 Earth Supreme in and let him stay in the city. I've already paid a huge price. Will it work if I send another grade 7 Earth Supreme in? Di Wuba remained silent for a long time. How could Diwuba not know about this? However, with the loss of the sovereign blood essence, the dark gold profound tiger wouldn't be able to leave the palace or the city. How could Diwuba be willing to do that? Taking a deep breath, Diwuba said in a deep voice, "Everyone, please do me a favor. I'll prepare all the materials. As for you guys, just put in some effort." At this point, Diwuba had to make a choice. Should he wait here, or should he send a 7th grade Earth Sovereign in? After much consideration, Diwuba finally decided that it would be worth it to send a 7th grade Earth Sovereign in, no matter what price he had to pay. The dark gold profound tiger was the mount of the 2nd old ancestor of Emperor Palace. As long as he could leave the city, the 2nd old ancestor might return. After so many years, the 2nd old ancestor of Emperor Palace's cultivation must have reached perfection. He might even be very close to a higher level. All right. The first to agree was Jin Xiong. After all, Diwuba had contributed a lot when the Jin clan sent a grade 2 Earth Sovereign into the city. Jin Xiong naturally wouldn't stop Diwuba. However, Jin Xiong suddenly changed the topic and continued. But our Jin clan also wants to send a 7th grade Earth Sovereign in. Our Broken Dragon Valley also wants to send a 7th grade Earth Sovereign in. Our 100 Flowers Palace as well. Crack! Diwuba clenched his fists and cracked them. He was so angry that his nose was crooked. The defense of the city was very powerful. Even after so many years, it could still withstand the powerful attacks of a high-rank Earth Sovereign. 4 7th grade Earth Sovereigns. Do you know what that means? Diwuba coldly said, "It means that the 4 of us, together with everyone else, will have to bring out all the materials in order to have a 20% success rate." It's fine. Don't we just need materials? Jin Xiong waved his hand and said, "I believe that everyone here is a righteous person. It won't be difficult for us to gather the materials." "I hope so." Diwuba's expression did not change much. He took out a few interspatial pouches and said, "I'll take the lead. As long as you guys aren't stingy, I have a 50% chance of sending a 7th grade Earth Sovereign in." As he spoke, Diwuba opened the interspatial pouches and set up a small array around them. It was better to be safe than sorry. Diwuba did not want to suffer a double loss. Diwuba began to organize the materials and place them around the altar in a certain order. "Give me the sunstone, rootless grass," Diwuba yelled with a grave expression. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Along with Diwuba's voice, Jin Xiong, Taoist Duanlong, and Fairy Yun she each threw an interspatial pouch to Diwuba. Whoosh, whoosh. Following that, the figures of Jin Xiong and the rest flickered, and each occupied a spot on the altar. After Diwuba placed the materials in a certain order, he tore space apart and arrived at the empty spot on the altar. "Rise!" Diwuba forced out a drop of his blood essence and sprinkled it on the altar. Rumble! In an instant, a golden light burst out, and all the materials around the altar were sucked away by the altar. "The 4 of you come here." At this moment, Diwuba resisted the urge to faint and yelled, "When you enter the city, you must conceal your aura and suppress your cultivation to the 2nd grade Earth Sovereign realm. Furthermore, each of you will have 3 chances to make a move. Once the 3 chances are up, you must immediately leave the city. Otherwise, you will be discovered by the mysterious array and killed." The 4 7th grade Earth Sovereigns did not have any joy or sorrow on their faces. There was no need for Diwuba to tell them about these things. They already knew about them. "Go to the palace and hand the blood essence to the dark golden mystical tiger." Diwuba secretly transmitted his voice to the 7th grade Earth Sovereigns. Chapter 1352. Chapter 1352. Danger. Poof, 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 poof. With a flash of golden light, the 4 7th grade Earth Sovereigns were enveloped by the golden light and disappeared into the altar. The 4 7th grade Earth Sovereigns were gone, but Diwuba and the rest spurted out a mouthful of blood and their auras weakened. In order to send the 4 7th grade Earth Sovereigns into the city, Diwuba and the rest suffered quite a bit of injuries. Although these injuries were not fatal, they had a great impact on them. Almost everyone's battle prowess had dropped by a level. Di Wuba and Jin Xiong's battle prowess was no longer at the level of a lesser heavenly sovereign. They could only display the strength of a pinnacle 9th grade Earth sovereign. As for Daoist Duanlong and Fairy Yin Shi, they could only display the strength of a late 9th grade Earth sovereign. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Soon, Di Wuba and the rest sat on the boulders and began to recuperate. Whoosh. Inside the city of the Void's secret realm, the originally calm altar shone with golden light once again. When the golden light dissipated, a group of people tore through the void and slowly walked out of the altar. After escaping from the palace, Ningyu happened to be around the altar. Ningyu knew that there must be someone waiting for him outside the altar, so he didn't leave immediately. Instead, he found a quiet house and waited inside. It's a 7th grade Earth Sovereign. Ningyu and Jinlan spoke at almost the same time. After saying that, Ningyu and Jinlan's faces turned gloomy. 4 7th grade Earth Sovereigns appeared at the same time. On their side, the scar-faced Berserk Wolf and the ferocious Berserk Wolf were also fatally injured. Even if they weren't injured, the scar-faced Berserk Wolf and the ferocious Berserk Wolf were no match for the 4 7th grade Earth Sovereigns. Whoosh! Suddenly, the 4 7th grade Earth Sovereigns on the altar spread out. What should we do now? After the 4 7th grade Earth Sovereigns left, Jinlan let out a long breath and asked. Nothing. Ningyu rolled his eyes and went to the scar-faced, bloodthirsty Frenzy Wolf and the ferocious Frenzy Wolf to check their injuries. The dark gold Profound Tiger was very strong. Even though the scarred, bloodthirsty Berserk Wolf and the ferocious, bloodthirsty Berserk Wolf were working together, they were still unable to gain the upper hand. Very troublesome. His perception lingered on the scar-faced, bloodthirsty Berserk Wolf and the others for a while. Ningyu frowned. Do I need to waste a drop of Sovereign Blood Essence? In the Immortal Dan Hall, Ningyu obtained a drop of Sovereign Blood Essence. He had obtained the 2nd drop of Sovereign Blood Essence from Di Chong in the hall. Originally, Ningyu had left these 2 drops of Supreme being Blood Essence for his own use. However, the current situation had left him feeling depressed. Relax your minds. I'll give you a drop of the Supreme Being's Blood Essence. Gritting his teeth, Ningyu decided to give Scarface and Bloodthirsty Mad Wolf a drop of Supreme Blood Essence. No matter what, they were injured because of him. So if he didn't give them a drop of Supreme Being's Blood Essence, Ningyu wouldn't be able to live with himself. Are you sure you want to give us a drop of Supreme Being's Blood Essence? Hearing Ningyu's words, the scar-faced, bloodthirsty Mad Wolf and the ferocious Berserk Wolf widened their eyes with disbelief on their faces. The Sovereign Being's Blood Essence was a treasure. Although they had suffered heavy injuries, it was natural in their eyes. They were already under Ningyu's control, and their survival depended on Ningyu's will. Initially, when they were injured, they were already prepared to die slowly. So even if Ningyu took out a drop of Sovereign Blood Essence, they wouldn't believe it. They felt that Ningyu was trying to trick them. Why are you talking so much? The reason why I'm giving you guys the Sovereign Blood Essence is so that you can help me kill my enemies. Ningyu revealed an impatient expression as he waved his hand. Relax your minds, or I'll change my mind. Okay, we'll relax our minds now. Hearing Ningyu's words, the scar-faced, bloodthirsty Mad Wolf and the ferocious Berserk Wolf looked at each other and saw the excitement in each other's eyes. The Supreme Being's Blood Essence was simply too timely for them right now. Whoosh, whoosh. With a flick of his wrist, Ningyu split the drop of Sovereign Blood Essence he snatched from Di Chong into 2 drops. One flew towards the scar-faced, bloodthirsty Mad Wolf, and the other towards the ferocious Berserk Wolf. How could the scar-faced, bloodthirsty Mad Wolf and the ferocious Mad Wolf dare to delay? They immediately sat down and began to absorb the Sovereign Blood Essence. Whoosh! As the blood essence entered their stomachs, the 2 bloodthirsty Mad Wolves' bodies shone with a golden light. The injuries and broken bones in their bodies healed at a visible speed. At this rate, It would only take an hour at most for the two bloodthirsty mad wolves to recover to their peak state. They might even have the chance to advance further and break through to the 7th grade Earth Supreme realm. The scar-faced, bloodthirsty mad wolf and the others were pinnacle 6th grade Earth sovereigns and had been in this realm for many years. Now, with the impact of the sovereign blood essence, they vaguely felt an urge to advance to the 7th grade Earth Supreme realm. Not good. The two bloodthirsty mad wolves' actions caused Ningyu's expression to change drastically. It wasn't that Ningyu didn't want them to advance, but that there would definitely be a huge reaction if they advanced here. The 4 7th grade Earth sovereigns hadn't gone far. If they all came back, the consequences would be unimaginable. Law of space, quickly seal this area. Don't let anyone discover anything, Ningyu said in a deep voice and hurriedly ordered the law of space. I can only seal this area for half an hour. Any longer, and I won't be able to hold on. The law of space replied. Whoosh. Then, with Ningyu and the others as the center, the entire area was sealed. Half an hour? Ningyu frowned and looked at the scar-faced, bloodthirsty mad wolf and the others. To be honest, they might not be able to advance to the 7th grade Earth Supreme realm in half an hour. But since things had come to this, Ningyu had no choice but to wait quietly. However, Ningyu wasn't the kind of person who would sit still and wait. While waiting, he tried to contact the sapling. The sapling was a special existence, and it might have a solution. However, Ningyu was disappointed. No matter how he called, the sapling didn't respond. Forget it. I'll deal with it when it comes. I hope these two bloodthirsty mad wolves can advance to the 7th grade Earth Supreme realm in half an hour. Shaking his head, Ningyu chose to close his eyes and wait quietly. Drip, drip. Time flew, and in the blink of an eye, 20 minutes had passed. 20 minutes wasn't a long time, but it wasn't short either. After 20 minutes of hard work, the scar-faced, bloodthirsty mad wolf and the ferocious mad wolf had recovered to their peak state and were trying to advance to the 7th grade Earth Supreme realm. On the surface, the scar-faced, bloodthirsty mad wolf was faster and had the highest chance of advancing to the 7th grade Earth Supreme realm in half an hour. As for the ferocious mad wolf, it was a little dangerous. Bang! After another 5 minutes, a muffled sound came from the scar-faced, bloodthirsty mad wolf's body. 7th grade Earth Supreme Realm. Chapter 1353. Exposed. When the scarred wolf advanced to the 7th grade Earth Sovereign Realm, for other 7th grade Earth Sovereigns stopped in their tracks with their brows knitted. The 4 7th grade Earth Sovereigns that were chosen to enter the giant city all had some ability. Although the space around Ningyu was sealed by the law of space, they still noticed the commotion caused by the scarred wolf's advancement. Let's go. The 4 7th grade Earth Sovereigns flew in Ningyu's direction. In the blink of an eye, the 4 7th grade Earth Sovereigns appeared outside the room where Ningyu was. I can sense that someone has advanced to the 7th grade Earth Sovereign Realm. The 4 7th grade Earth Sovereigns exchanged a look and saw the shock in each other's eyes. A brief moment later, the 7th grade Earth Sovereign of the Jin clan said, "It seems that the city is dangerous. Why don't we join forces and drag that person out?" I agree. The 7th grade Earth Sovereign of the Divine Emperor Palace agreed without hesitation. When they entered the city, the 7th grade Earth Sovereign of the Divine Emperor Palace was already in the hall and handed a drop of sovereign blood essence to the dark golden mystic tiger. The dark golden mystic tiger was currently recovering, and it wouldn't take long for it to return to the 6th grade Earth Sovereign Realm. At that time, who in the city could be their opponent? The Divine Emperor Palace was destined to enjoy the fortune in the city. The 7th grade Earth Sovereigns of the Broken Dragon Valley and 100 Flowers Palace did not speak. No one knew if they agreed or disagreed. Damn it! Seeing the 4 7th grade Earth Sovereigns, Ningyu's face turned extremely ugly. Even if the Scarred Wolf had advanced to the 7th grade Earth Sovereign Realm, he still couldn't win against the 4 of them. Judging from the current situation, he could only have a chance of winning if he advanced to the 7th grade Earth Sovereign realm as well. After all, humans and demonic beasts had the same cultivation, but humans were at an absolute disadvantage. I'll go lure them away. The Scar Berserk Wolf knew the severity of the problem and said in a deep voice, "As long as I lure the 4 7th grade Earth Sovereigns away, the Berserk Wolf will definitely be able to advance to the 7th grade Earth Sovereign realm. Be careful." After thinking about it, Ningyu agreed to the scarred, bloodthirsty Mad Wolf. Rather than waiting for death, he might as well think of a way to lure the 4 7th grade Earth Sovereigns away with the Scar Berserk Wolf to buy time for the ferocious Berserk Wolf. Roar! The scarred wolf did not hesitate. He roared at the sky and tore through the void, wanting to charge into the distance. Poochie! However, as soon as the scarred wolf tore through the void, it spat out a mouthful of blood. This is bad. Ningyu's heart sank when he saw the scarred, bloodthirsty Mad Wolf spurting blood. Demonic beasts could not stay in the giant city. The reason why the scarred wolf and the ferocious wolf could stay in the giant city for such a long time was due to the help of the law of space. It could be said that without the law of space, the scarred wolf and the ferocious wolf would have been killed by the array in the giant city. Now that the scarred wolf wanted to lure the 7th grade Earth Sovereigns away, it was a huge mistake. Rumble. In an instant, with the scarred wolf as the center, several pillars of light rose from the surroundings. Whoosh! The pillars of light intertwined and enveloped the entire area. An array. At this moment, the 4 7th grade Earth Sovereigns couldn't help exclaiming with shock on their faces. They were the upper echelons of their respective sects, so they more or less knew what was going on in the giant city. Someone must have triggered some kind of restriction and caused the array to appear. Huff! In the void, Ningyu looked at the scarred, bloodthirsty wolf standing beside him and let out a long sigh. At the critical moment, the law of space suddenly went berserk and sucked the scarred wolf into the void, hiding it. There were only 5 minutes left until the half-an-hour time limit set by the law of space. At the very least, the scarred wolf and the others would not be discovered within these 5 minutes. They're trapped in the array. Do we have a chance to kill them all? After calming down, Ningyu raised his eyebrows and asked, "Law of space, take the scarred wolf and approach the 7th grade Earth Sovereigns from the Gene family and Emperor Palace and give them a fatal blow." Since they had already offended the Gene family and Emperor Palace, they would kill as many as they could. If they killed one, they would break even. If they killed 2, they would make a profit. Kill my ass. The law of space snappily said, "If I hadn't appeared in time, the scarred, bloodthirsty Mad Wolf would have been killed long ago. Also, we have to hide our auras while protecting the scarred, bloodthirsty Mad Wolf. We'll be discovered in 3 minutes at most." Ningyu's face darkened, and he had the urge to curse. Right now, they were still trapped in the spiritual array. Wouldn't that mean that they would be exposed to the 7th grade Earth Sovereigns outside after 3 minutes? What I care about is whether the scarred wolf and the ferocious wolf will be teleported out of the city. Ningyu voiced out his concern. Once the scarred wolf and the others were teleported out, Ningyu would be finished. As long as they were not teleported out, Ningyu still had hope. At least, he could fight them. Don't worry, they won't be teleported out of the city. The law of space said, "If you don't hide your aura now, I can order the scarred wolf and the ferocious wolf to attack." Don't. Let's wait for a while. What if the ferocious wolf brings me a surprise? Ningyu waved his hand to stop the law of space from acting recklessly. Poochie, 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 Poochie. At the very least, the situation of the 4 7th grade Earth Sovereigns was much worse than that of Ningyu. Under the powerful pressure of the array, the 4 7th grade Earth Sovereigns spat out a mouthful of blood. Damn it, let me blast it away. The 7th grade Earth Sovereign of the Gene clan cursed inwardly and pushed out his right hand, trying to blast the array. Wait! Before the 7th grade Earth Sovereign of the Gene clan punched out, the other 3 7th grade Earth Sovereigns hurriedly said, "The array is unstable. We can only endure it. We can't blast it. If we don't blast the array, are we just going to wait to be tortured to death? The 7th grade Earth Sovereign of the Jin clan, Jin Fu, was furious. They had entered the city to investigate why the 4 peerless geniuses of the Jin clan were killed. Who would have thought that they would be trapped in the array before they could find anything? Do you want more arrays to appear? The 7th grade Earth Sovereign of the Divine Emperor Palace, Di Chong, said in a cold tone, I'm sure you know better than me why this city appeared. Oof. Of course I know. Jin Fu snorted coldly and did not continue speaking. Instead, he rolled his eyes, and no one knew what he was thinking. I've already investigated this array. As long as we can stay inside for 3 minutes, they will naturally disappear. A moment later, Jin Fu said, I suspect that the one who just advanced to the 7th grade Earth Sovereign is a human who stayed in the city a long time ago. I crack. Chapter 1354. Chapter 1354. Chapter 1354, Tribulation Rumble. Space trembled, and a terrifying aura soared into the sky. Sensing this terrifying aura, Jin Fu and the others' expressions changed drastically. Then, a colossal creature appeared in the void. Bloodthirsty Mad Wolf. Jin Fu's eyes widened when he saw the colossal creature. It's a 7th grade Earth Supreme Bloodthirsty Mad Wolf. But soon, Jin Fu's face was filled with joy. Jin Fu knew that the Jin clan had subdued the bloodthirsty Mad Wolf clan in the Void Secret Realm and left a seal in their bodies. As long as the seal was triggered, the bloodthirsty Mad Wolves in the Void Secret Realm would die on the spot. Maybe I can use these bloodthirsty Mad Wolves to deal with Di Chong and the rest. With a thought, Jin Fu came to a decision. Although he looked shocked on the surface, his heart was in contact with the bloodthirsty Mad Wolf. I'm on the higher-ups of the Jin clan. I need your help. Jin Fu's tone left no room for doubt. He said in a deep voice, you will deal with Di Chong. Do everything you can to kill him. The bloodthirsty Mad Wolf was slightly stunned when it heard Jin Fu's words. Then, it shifted its gaze to Ningyu. The reason why Jin Fu could see the bloodthirsty Mad Wolf was that he had just broken through to the 7th grade Earth Supreme Realm, which caused the space to become unstable. As for Ningyu, the scarred Mad Wolf, and the rest, they were still hidden in the void and had not been discovered. Try to get close to Jin Fu first, Ningyu said. There were still 3 minutes before he was exposed anyway. 3 minutes was neither a long nor short time. At the very least, he could let the bloodthirsty Mad Wolf get close to the 7th grade Earth Supreme Realm and deal a fatal blow. Understood. The bloodthirsty Mad Wolf nodded. Oh, the expert from the Jin clan will definitely trigger the seal in your body. As soon as he does, I'll inform you immediately. You should know what to do, Ningyu reminded. The reason why Jin Fu communicated with the bloodthirsty Mad Wolf was because he thought that there was still a seal in the bloodthirsty Mad Wolf's body. Before heavily injuring Jin Fu, he could not expose himself. Otherwise, all his efforts would be in vain. Di Chong, you are the strongest among the 4 of us. Why don't you deal with this bloodthirsty Mad Wolf? Jin Fu looked at Di Chong and said, Are you sure you're not joking? Di Chong asked coldly. Why don't you go? Di Chong was not a fool. After entering the city, they only had 3 chances to attack. There were very few opportunities. Every time he used one, there would be one less. Once the 3 chances were used up, they would definitely be teleported out. They hadn't found the good fortune yet, so no one wanted to go out now. How about this? Let's work together and take down this bloodthirsty Mad Wolf. As he spoke, Jin Fu stomped on the ground and charged at the ferocious, bloodthirsty Mad Wolf. What the hell are they doing? Seeing Jin Fu's actions, Di Chong raised his brows. He had no idea what Jin Fu was up to. Although he was a little confused, Di Chong did not stay idle. His figure flashed, and he followed closely behind Jin Fu. Are we going to make a move? The 7th grade Earth Sovereign of the Broken Dragon Valley asked as he looked at the 7th grade Earth Sovereign of the Flower Palace. Up to you. The 7th grade Earth Sovereign of the Flower Palace was a woman named Chung Ling. Forget it. Let them have it. Seeing that Chung Ling had no intention of making a move, the seventh grade Earth Sovereign of the Broken Dragon Valley, took a deep breath and said, the seventh grade Earth Sovereign of the Broken Dragon Valley was called Ji Hao. Ji Hao knew very well that the Broken Dragon Valley, the Jin family, and the Emperor Palace all had enmity with each other. If Daoist Duanlong knew that he wanted to help Jin Fu and the others, he would probably execute him on the spot. Di Chong, I'll give you the beast core of this seventh grade Earth Supreme bloodthirsty wild wolf. I want its body. Although they had not fought with the ferocious mad wolf, Jin Fu had already started to bargain with Di Chong. It seemed that the ferocious mad wolf would definitely be killed by them. Deal. Di Chong was very careful. He was always half a beat behind Jin Fu. In fact, Di Chong had also heard that the Jin family had controlled a group of bloodthirsty mad wolves in the Void Secret Realm. This information was confidential, and Di Chong only knew about it by chance. If he did not know about it, he would have already made a move. It seems that Di Chong is not very convinced. Jin Fu frowned slightly and immediately rushed out. As Jin Fu rushed out, he slightly activated the seal in the ferocious mad wolf's body. All the higher-ups of the Jin family knew how to activate the seal in the bloodthirsty mad wolf's body. However, Jin Fu only activated it slightly and didn't fully activate it. Buzz. As soon as Jin Fu activated the seal in the ferocious mad wolf's body, Ningyu passed the news to the ferocious mad wolf. The ferocious mad wolf was very cooperative. Its body started to shake, and its consciousness became a little fuzzy. At the same time, the ferocious mad wolf angrily transmitted a message to Jin Fu. What is the meaning of this? Nothing. I just want to confirm it. Jin Fu was a little worried at first, but after seeing the ferocious mad wolf's actions, he finally felt relieved. Bang! Jin Fu clenched his right hand into a fist and punched the ferocious mad wolf's body. A crisp sound was heard, and the ferocious mad wolf was sent flying. Swoosh! Jin Fu rushed out again, not giving the ferocious mad wolf a chance to counterattack. Roar! The ferocious mad wolf raised its head and roared angrily as it looked at Jin Fu, who was approaching it. Your acting is quite good. Not bad. Hearing the ferocious mad wolf's roar, Jin Fu was very satisfied. This was the result he wanted. Di Chong, what are you waiting for? Jin Fu shouted and turned around to call for Di Chong as he attacked the ferocious mad wolf. Now's the time. The ferocious mad wolf's eyes lit up. It swept its tail, bringing with it a violent Yuan Qi gale as it attacked Jin Fu. Not good. Jin Fu was not a fool. As soon as the ferocious mad wolf attacked, he realized that something was wrong and hurriedly activated the seal. However, no matter how Jin Fu activated the seal, the ferocious mad wolf did not react. In fact, Jin Fu did not dodge because he wanted to activate the seal. Smack! The tail hit Jin Fu's neck and made a circle. The ferocious mad wolf exerted its strength and threw Jin Fu far away, causing him to hit the edge of the array. Rumble. The array in the giant city was there to restrict people who did not follow the rules. Jin Fu had just crashed into the array when the void beside him suddenly split open. A huge palm appeared and forcefully dragged him in. Hiss! The sudden change caused everyone present, including Ningyu, who was in the sky, to gasp. That palm, the cultivation of its owner, was at least at the Sky Supreme stage. For a moment, all the martial artists in the area held their breath. No one dared to speak. A moment later, a powerful voice broke the silence. Chapter 1355. The last 3 hours, as soon as the voice stopped, the surroundings became silent again. Crack! Not long after, the formation surrounding Di Chong and the others cracked open and disappeared completely. It was not until a long time after the formation disappeared that Di Chong and the others finally felt relieved. Gulp! Di Chong swallowed his saliva and said, Senior, I would like to ask about Jin Fu. Don't ask what you shouldn't ask. A cold voice replied to Di Chong. You only have 3 hours. After 3 hours, all of you will be teleported out of the city, and the secret land of emptiness will be sealed for 3 years. Di Chong shuddered and felt a little scared. The reason why Di Chang asked was that he wasn't sure about the attitude of the person in the void. Now, it seemed that the person in the void was very domineering and didn't want to talk to him. You? Why do you look so familiar? After a while, Di Chang's gaze finally stopped on Ningyu. Sorry, we don't know each other. Since Di Chang had noticed him, Ningyu took a step forward and shrugged. If you want to attack me, I'll take it. Although there were the scarred and ferocious wolves here, Ningyu didn't dare to be careless. If Di Chang joined forces with the other two 7th-grade Earth Sovereigns, he would be in trouble. Moreover, there were more than a dozen pinnacle 9th-grade Earth Sovereigns here, apart from the 3 7th-grade Earth Sovereigns. Moreover, there was a 2nd-grade Earth Sovereign among those pinnacle 9th-grade Earth Sovereigns. Just these people alone were enough to make Ningyu suffer. You're Ningyu! Suddenly, Di Chang seemed to have thought of something and said in surprise, I didn't expect to see you here. Good, very good. Di Chang's gaze swept across the scarred berserk wolf and the ferocious berserk wolf. He seemed to have understood something. It seems that the deaths of the 3 peerless geniuses of the Emperor Palace are related to you. Di Chang looked at Ningyu and said, Elder, their deaths are indeed related to Ningyu. At this time, Di Chang flew over from afar and landed beside Di Chang. Di Chang's eyes were filled with coldness. He gritted his teeth and said, Ningyu not only killed the 3 geniuses of Emperor God Palace, but he also— Shut up. Di Chang slapped Di Chang and said angrily, Haven't you embarrassed yourself enough? Let's go. As he spoke, Di Chang grabbed Di Chang's shoulder and dashed off into the distance. In fact, Ningyu was worried that Di Chang would join forces with the other 2 7th-grade Earth Sovereigns. How could Di Chang not be worried about this? Ningyu already had 2 7th-grade Earth Sovereign Realm bloodthirsty wolves on his side. If 2 more 7th-grade Earth Sovereign Realm humans joined the fray, he would definitely die today. After all, the mysterious man had said that the giant city was completely open to them. They could do whatever they wanted inside without worrying about triggering the formation. In this case, Di Chang had more concerns and had to flee first. Just wait and see. Lord Dark Gold Mystic Tiger will soon recover to the 6th-grade Earth Sovereign Realm. At that time, all of you will die. The direction in which Di Chang fled was the hall where the Dark Gold Mystic Tiger was. The sovereign blood essence had been given to the Dark Gold Mystic Tiger. After a while, the Dark Gold Mystic Tiger would recover to the 6th-grade Earth Sovereign Realm. Di Chang had nothing to fear. Let's go. Ji Hao waved his hand and rushed away with the 4 9th-grade Earth Sovereigns from the Broken Dragon Valley. Di Chang was worried that Ningyu would attack him, and so was Ji Hao. Those were 2 7th-grade Earth Sovereign Realm bloodthirsty wolves. Ji Hao didn't have the strength to fight against them. Let's go. Cheng Ling glanced at Ningyu. Then her figure flashed, wanting to leave. Please wait. Before Cheng Ling could take a few steps, Ningyu hurriedly said, I have something to ask you. Swish. The speaker did not mean it, but the listener did. Ningyu's words made Cheng Ling's face turn gloomy. Apart from Cheng Ling, the 4 9th-grade Earth Sovereigns of the 100 Flowers Palace also had ugly expressions. When the Divine Emperor Palace martial artists left, Ningyu didn't stop them. When the Broken Dragon Valley martial artists left, Ningyu didn't stop them either. Now, it was the 100 Flowers Palace's turn, but they were stopped. Could it be that Ningyu thought they were easy to bully? Don't misunderstand. Can we talk in private? Seeing the change in Cheng Ling's expression, Ningyu didn't have to think to know that they were furious. I want to know about the Palace Master of the 100 Flowers Palace. Seeing that Cheng Ling was indifferent, Ningyu had no choice but to send a soul message. Maybe I can help the 100 Flowers Palace get through this. Thump! Hearing Ningyu's words, Cheng Ling's heart skipped a beat. The 100 Flowers Palace was in big trouble. The Palace Master was trapped in a place and was suspected to have died. In the huge 100 Flowers Palace, a large number of elders and disciples had sided with mysterious powerhouses. Of course, only the 100 Flowers Palace knew about this. Outsiders wouldn't know about it. How did Ningyu know about it? Did he really have a way to help the 100 Flowers Palace? Thinking of this, Cheng Ling moved her feet and walked towards Ningyu. Elder, please reconsider. Although they didn't know what Ningyu said to Cheng Ling, the 4 ninth-grade Earth Sovereigns of the Hundred Flowers Palace still stopped Cheng-Ling when they saw her actions. In the entire Hundred Flowers Palace, there weren't many elders who were still loyal to the Palace Master. Other than Fairy Yun Shi, who was outside the Void Secret Realm, only Cheng-Ling and a few elders chose to stand on the Palace Master's side. If Cheng-Ling died, it would be a huge loss to the Hundred Flowers Palace. It's fine. Cheng-Ling was fearless. She moved her feet and arrived before Ningyu in the blink of an eye. If you can't satisfy me, I'll kill you. Cheng-Ling stared into Ningyu's eyes and said in a deep voice. Ningyu's heart skipped a beat. To be honest, Ningyu could see the vicissitudes of life, coldness, and killing intent in Cheng-Ling's eyes. Could it be that the Hundred Flowers Palace was really at a moment of life and death? Or rather, the Palace Master was at a complete disadvantage in the confrontation with the mysterious powerhouse, causing most of the Hundred Flowers Palace to fall. And the Cheng-Ling in front of him was one of the fallen martial artists? All sorts of doubts appeared in Ningyu's mind, causing him to be at a loss. I want to know what's going on with the Hundred Flowers Palace. After sorting out his thoughts, Ningyu said in a deep voice, is the Palace Master having the upper hand? Or is it the mysterious powerhouse? Swoosh! Cheng-Ling's expression changed. She released her aura and frantically pressed towards Ningyu. Tell me, what do you know? Cheng-Ling berated. If Ningyu didn't say anything, she would kill Ningyu. I know your Palace Master. Ningyu didn't back down. Instead, he stared into Cheng-Ling's eyes and said. Cheng-Ling's heart trembled. Not long ago, the Palace Master had secretly sent a voice transmission to Fairy Yun Shi, asking her to go to the Thousand Leaf Empire to find a man called Ningyu. After finding Ningyu, she had to bring him to the Thousand Leaf Ridge. The Palace Master had also said that only Ningyu could help the Hundred Flowers Palace. She had to be more respectful when she saw Ningyu. Chapter 1356. Oh, let's talk somewhere else. Cheng-Ling's complexion improved a little when she thought that Ningyu might be the Ningyu that the Palace Master of the Centauria Palace had mentioned. She took a deep breath and said, if you're really the Palace Master's friend, we might be able to work together. Cheng-Ling stomped on the ground and flew into the distance. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. The 4 pinnacle 9th grade earthly supremes behind Cheng-Ling didn't dare to be slow. They all used their spells and followed closely. What do we do now? Jinlan frowned when he saw Cheng-Ling and the others leaving. Are we really going to follow them? To be honest, Jinlan didn't believe Cheng-Ling's words. In his opinion, Cheng-Ling wanted them to follow because she wanted to set them up. After all, Cheng-Ling was a pinnacle 7th grade Earth Supreme with unfathomable strength. Let's go. Ningyu was bold because of his skills. The scarred and ferocious wolves had already advanced to 7th grade Earth Supreme. With them by his side, Ningyu naturally had nothing to fear. Although Cheng-Ling was a pinnacle 7th grade Earth Supreme, it would still be difficult for her to fight 2 at once. Damn it, Jinlan cursed. He had no choice but to follow behind Ningyu. The giant city had released its restrictions on martial artists. It could be said that Jinlan was the weakest in the giant city. If she was replaced by a 9th grade earthly supremacy, she wouldn't be able to bear the consequences. Therefore, following behind Ningyu was the best choice. Russell, Cheng-Ling seemed to know a lot about the giant city. She led Ningyu and the others through the giant city and finally stopped in front of a slightly dilapidated house. What is this place? Ningyu frowned. He knew nothing about the giant city. Creak. Cheng-Ling didn't answer Ningyu's question. She pushed the door open and walked straight in. Ningyu wanted to ask something, but seeing Cheng-Ling's actions, he gave up and followed her. As soon as they entered the courtyard, Cheng-Ling stomped her right foot on the ground and took out a scroll and threw it in a specific direction. Back off! After doing all this, Cheng-Ling took a few steps back and said. Ningyu was puzzled. He did not know what Cheng-Ling was up to. Rumble. Not long after, the scroll exploded, and the place where Cheng-Ling's right foot was standing suddenly caved in, revealing a huge hole. Go! Cheng-Ling didn't say much. When the hole was completely formed, she was the first to jump in. Behind Cheng-Ling, for peak ninth grade human supreme martial artist followed closely. Since he was already here, there was no reason for Ningyu to retreat. Furthermore, ever since he was separated from palatial Mistress Centauria and the others, Ningyu wanted to know more about them as soon as possible. Cold. The first thing he felt when he entered the hole was cold. The second feeling was that it was extremely cold. This kind of cold was not an ordinary kind of cold. It was a kind of bone-chilling cold. Furthermore, the deeper they went, the colder it became. In the end, the four pinnacle ninth-grade sovereigns of the Flower Palace had no choice but to stop. Even a peak ninth-grade human supreme couldn't advance, let alone Jinlan. In fact, not long after entering the hole, Jinlan already felt that it was difficult to move. If it wasn't for Ningyu protecting her, she would have long been frozen into an ice sculpture. Just how deep is this hole? Half an hour after entering the hole, even Ningyu started to have doubts. Cheng-Ling didn't seem to be affected as she walked forward step by step. As for Ningyu, he only managed to keep up with Cheng-Ling with the help of the scarred berserk wolf and the ferocious berserk wolf. "We're here." Cheng-Ling's face was emotionless. "What is this place?" Ningyu was puzzled. The surroundings were as empty as the wilderness, and he couldn't see anything. Crack! As soon as Ningyu's voice fell, the space before him shattered. The void shattered, and in an instant, a figure walked out of the void. A heavenly sovereign? Even though Ningyu was prepared, he couldn't help but gasp when he sensed the powerful aura emanating from this figure. Although the figure was illusory, its strength had reached the terrifying heavenly sovereign realm. "What is it?" After the illusory figure appeared, it didn't look at Ningyu. Instead, it stared at Cheng-Ling and said, "Why did you disturb my sleep? Old ancestor, I'm here to tell you that the Hundred Flowers Palace is at a moment of life and death." Cheng-Ling didn't dare to be negligent and hurriedly replied respectfully. Cheng-Ling didn't make a sound. Instead, she transmitted her voice to the illusory figure. Clearly, Cheng-Ling didn't want Ningyu to hear her. "What?" No one knew what Cheng-Ling said, but the illusory figure's face turned extremely ugly when he heard her words. He coldly said, "This matter is very important. I need to report it to my superiors." Whoosh! As soon as he finished speaking, the illusory figure merged into the void and disappeared. Although the illusory figure had disappeared, Ningyu didn't dare to make any rash moves. If he offended a heavenly sovereign, only death awaited him. No one could save him. Whoosh! 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 Not long after, something that shocked Ningyu happened. In the void, several terrifying senses surged out and entered Cheng-Ling's mind. "Don't resist." The illusory figure appeared again and said, "This matter is extremely important. Everyone needs to understand the situation." Without the illusory figure speaking, Cheng-Ling didn't dare to act rashly. Every single one of the perception that appeared later was stronger than the illusory figure. Cheng-Ling didn't want to provoke them, because it wouldn't end well for her if she did. It really is them. A brief moment later, everyone retracted their perception. An old woman's voice echoed in the area. "I wonder if he escaped from the emptiness pocket realm or somewhere else. They shouldn't have escaped from us." An old man said, "We will check every half a month to ensure that the people below the empty realm will not leave this place. We're guarding the void realm and can't leave for now. In my opinion, let the Hundred Flowers Palace find a way to solve this matter. After all, it happened in the Hundred Flowers Palace," the old woman said again. Then, a large number of perception retreated. But before leaving, the old woman glanced at Ningyu and said, "Hundred Flowers, Heavenly Sovereign, you should know what to do." After saying these words, the old woman finally left. "Are you trying to erase my memory?" Ningyu's heart skipped a beat. From the old woman's words, he could tell that she was unhappy with him and seemed to be targeting him. He didn't even know who the old woman was. Wasn't it a little inappropriate for the old woman to target him like this? "Did you offend the Emperor Palace in any way?" After everyone left, the illusory figure frowned and stared at Ningyu. In the past, people from other sects came to the giant city, but they didn't ask to have their memory erased. Why is the old woman targeting you? That old man is from the Emperor Palace. Ning Yu's eyes widened. He was a little speechless. Since the old man was from the Emperor Palace, everything made sense. Needless to say, Di Chong and Di Chong must have found a way to meet the old woman and told her about what he had done. With the 100 Flowers Heavenly Sovereign around, the old woman couldn't kill him, so she could only give Ning Yu a warning. Thinking of this, Ning Yu looked at the illusory figure, which was the 100 Flowers Heavenly Sovereign, gratefully. Chapter 1357. Surrounded again. Don't worry, it's nothing. The 100 Flowers Heavenly Venerate said with a wave of his hand. The 100 Flowers Heavenly Venerate murmured. If the ancestor hadn't been injured, how could the 100 Flowers Palace have fallen to such a state? Although the 100 Flowers Heavenly Venerate's voice was very soft, Ning Yu's sharp hearing still caught it. I will repay this kindness with a gushing spring. Ning Yu cupped his fists and said solemnly, Good, I'm glad you think that way. The 100 Flowers Heavenly Venerate nodded. I already know the memories in Chung Ling's mind. I have a few questions for you now. Please ask, Senior. Ning Yu didn't dare to be negligent. First, how did you meet the current palace master? The 100 Flowers Heavenly Venerate asked. Although the 100 Flowers Heavenly Venerate acted very casually, Ning Yu knew that the 100 Flowers Heavenly Venerate would definitely find out if he lied. Ning Yu took a deep breath and organized his thoughts before speaking slowly. Ning Yu only stopped after a full 10 minutes. In those 10 minutes, Ning Yu told the 100 Flowers Heavenly Venerate how he met the palace master and how they fought side by side. However, Ning Yu kept a secret. Ning Yu didn't tell the 100 Flowers Heavenly Venerate about the soul guidance method. After all, the soul guidance method was very precious. In his previous life, he had only learned about it by chance. As strong as the 100 Flowers Heavenly Venerate was, she would definitely want to obtain the soul guidance method. Looks like the current palace master is in danger. From Ning Yu's words, the 100 Flowers Heavenly Venerate could tell that the current palace master was in danger. If she couldn't control the mysterious powerhouse quickly, she would die. The 100 Flowers Palace outside the empty mystic realm was the last flame of their lineage. The 100 Flowers Heavenly Venerate didn't want it to be extinguished. Sigh, against these people from the other side, the World Tree is the #1 killing weapon. What a pity, what a pity! Heavenly Lord Many Flowers sighed softly, wanted to say something, but hesitated. The other side, World Tree. Ning Yu felt a chill in his heart. He faintly felt that things weren't so simple. In his previous life, even though he was an Empyrean, he knew very little about these things. However, Ning Yu's memory of the word foreign land was still fresh. He was also a pinnacle 9th grade alchemist, and an Earth Supreme expert came to him and begged him to refine a pill for him. Back then, Ning Yu had heard bits and pieces of information from the Earth Sovereign Powerhouse, such as being surrounded and being heavily injured. Now that he thought about it, it seemed that things were far from that simple. Ning Yu, since the current palace mistress of the 100 Flowers Palace has chosen to trust you, then I trust you as well. The 100 Flowers Heavenly Sovereign's expression turned extremely solemn. She stared at Ning Yu and said, I'm giving this to you. I hope you can save the 100 Flowers Palace. Swoosh! The 100 Flowers Heavenly Sovereign flicked her sleeves, and a golden box flew out and flew toward Ning Yu. Smack! Stretching out his right hand, Ning Yu firmly grasped the golden box in his hand. What is this? Ning Yu frowned as he looked at the golden box in his hand. He wanted to split his perception to probe it. Don't open it now. Wait until you arrive at the 100 Flowers Palace and see the palace mistress and the other side's experts. The 100 Flowers Heavenly Sovereign stopped Ning Yu and passed a chant to Ning Yu. As long as you hold the golden box and recite the chant, you'll be able to open it. With that, the 100 Flowers Heavenly Sovereign ignored Ning Yu and turned to walk toward Chung Ling. Ning Yu, let me see the box. The 100 Flowers Heavenly Sovereign had only taken a few steps when an anxious voice rang out in Ning Yu's mind. There was no doubt that it was a sapling. Don't make a fuss. Ningyu's heart jolted as he immediately transmitted his voice to the sapling. The 100 Flowers' heavenly sovereign is powerful. What if she finds out? It's fine. The 100 Flowers' heavenly sovereign isn't here. This is just a projection of her. The sapling clearly did not put Ningyu's words to heart. Projection? Ningyu's heart trembled as he looked at the 100 Flowers' heavenly sovereign. But when he looked at it, Ningyu was dumbfounded. The sapling was right. The 100 Flowers' heavenly sovereign was just a projection, and the power that she could bring out was far from the heavenly sovereign realm. At best, she was only a 7th grade Earth sovereign. At this moment, Ningyu understood everything. It was no wonder why the old woman did not make a move against him. She must be afraid of the two wolves. Otherwise, the Emperor Palace would definitely kill him with the enmity between them. What's in the golden box? Ningyu took a deep breath and began to communicate with the sapling. What else could it be? The branch of the world tree that can restrain the experts of the other world. The sapling shook its branches and said, I can feel that if I devour the branch in the golden box, I can raise my strength to the 3rd grade Earth sovereign realm. After awakening, the sapling's fighting strength had reached the pinnacle 2nd grade Earth sovereign realm. Don't mess around. The branch of the world tree in the golden box is for the experts of the other world, Ningyu said in a deep voice. He would naturally not let the sapling mess around. The 100 Flowers' heavenly sovereign was still here. Even if it wanted to devour the branch, it could not do so now. At the very least, it could wait until the 100 Flowers' heavenly sovereign left. Let's go. Before the conversation between Ningyu and the sapling ended, Cheng Ling turned around and walked out of the hole with a cold expression. Go! Seeing Cheng Ling's action, Ningyu was a little stunned and quickly shifted his gaze to the other side. In Ningyu's eyes, heavenly venerate, many flowers had already vanished without a trace. Cheng Ling did not want to wait for Ningyu. She stomped on the ground and quickly dashed out. Rumble. What happened next made Ningyu speechless. As soon as Cheng Ling left, the hole began to collapse. Starting from the inside, it gradually collapsed, and the speed of the collapse was getting faster and faster. Let's go. There was no way Ningyu would stay and wait for death. He leaped onto the back of the scarred wolf and let it carry him toward the exit of the hole. Fortunately, the hole was not very deep. Before long, Ningyu and the others left the hole. I'm going to die. After leaving the hole, Ningyu's eyes widened and he could not help but curse. That was because there were 3 figures standing side by side in front of him. Those 2 figures were very familiar to Ningyu. One of them was Di Chong from the Divine Emperor Palace. For some reason, his cultivation had reached the pinnacle of the 7th grade Earth Sovereign Realm, and he was only half a step away from the 8th grade Earth Sovereign Realm. As for the other figure, Ningyu had a deep memory of it. The dark golden mystic tiger. This dark gold profound tiger was the one that had fought against the 2 bloodthirsty berserk wolves. The only difference was that this dark golden mystic tiger was no longer a 5th grade Earth Sovereign Realm, but a pinnacle 6th grade Earth Sovereign Realm. Chapter 1358. Chapter 1358, A Battle. Haha. Enemies are bound to meet on a narrow road. Seeing Ningyu and the rest emerge from the ground, the corner of Di Chong's lips rose. Ningyu, are you going to commit suicide, or do you want me to do it? Di Chong, he's someone I want to protect. Before Ningyu could speak, Cheng Ling took a step forth and stood before Ningyu. You have to ask for my opinion before you touch him. Seeing that Cheng Ling wanted to protect him, Ningyu was stunned before he revealed a shocked expression. Truth be told, Ningyu never thought that Cheng Ling would stand on his side. The 100 Flowers' heavenly sovereign did not erase his memory and even gave him a golden box. According to the sapling, the box contained a branch of the world tree. But that didn't represent Cheng Ling's intention. Now, that Cheng Ling wanted to protect him, he was surprised. Cheng Ling, your 100 Flowers Palace can't even take care of itself. I advise you to stay out of this. Di Chong's face was unsightly. I don't want to say the same thing twice. Cheng Ling's face was expressionless, and her attitude did not change. Why are you talking to them? Suddenly, the dark golden mystic tiger flung its lips and said proudly, "I can feel that as long as I devour all of these humans, I can recover to the 7th grade Earth Sovereign Realm." Russell, the dark golden mystic tiger's words made the pinnacle 9th grade earthly sovereigns of the 100 Flowers Palace's faces turn ugly. The pinnacle 9th grade earthly sovereigns of the 100 Flowers Palace weren't fools. They could naturally sense how powerful the dark golden mystic tiger was. The strength of a 6th grade Earth Sovereign Realm dark golden mystic tiger was extremely terrifying. It could basically be invincible among those in the same realm. So much so that it wouldn't be a problem for it to challenge those of a higher realm. Don't get cocky. The Scar Berserk Wolf took a step forth and coldly said. The Scar Berserk Wolf still remembered that he was defeated by the dark golden mystic tiger in the palace. Now that he had reached the 7th grade Earth Sovereign Realm, he had to get back at it. Go! After exchanging glances with the ferocious Berserk Wolf, the scarred Berserk Wolf stomped on the ground and charged forward. The scarred, bloodthirsty Mad Wolf was very fast. In the blink of an eye, it came to the dark gold profound tiger. It clenched its right fist and punched the tiger. Insignificant skill. Facing the approaching fist, the dark gold mysterious tiger didn't care about it at all. It swung its tail at the scarred wolf. Bang! Bang! Without a doubt, the scarred bloodthirsty Mad Wolf and the ferocious bloodthirsty Mad Wolf didn't last long under the powerful attacks of the dark gold profound tiger. Roar! Roar! Being defeated under everyone's gazes, especially after reaching the 7th grade Earth Sovereign Realm, the Scar Berserk Wolf felt a little embarrassed. He roared at the sky and transformed into his true form, a giant bloodthirsty wolf. Seeing the scarred Berserk Wolf transform into its true form, the ferocious Berserk Wolf also transformed into its true form. Two huge, bloodthirsty Berserk Wolves and a dark gold mystic tiger were fighting in the city. After transforming into his true form, the strength of the bloodthirsty Berserk Wolf had risen by several levels. Although it was still being suppressed, it wouldn't be so easy for it to be defeated. Cheng-Ling, let's spar as well? Looking at the other battlefield, Di Chong revealed a cold expression between his brows. No problem. Cheng-Ling cast a glance at Ningyu before she leaped out and fought with Di Chong. Shocking battles broke out in the two battlefields. Di Chong's strength was still formidable. Even if Cheng-Ling was a pinnacle 7th grade Earth Sovereign, she still couldn't defeat Di Chong in a short period of time. Ha ha ha! Before the two battles came to an end, a burst of wild laughter resounded. Without a doubt, it must be Di Chong who let out that laughter. Back in the palace, Di Chang's 3 companions were killed by Ningyu, so he wanted to take revenge. You want to fight with me? Staring at Di Chong, Ningyu revealed an uncertain expression. Although I can still defeat you in a one-on-one fight, I don't like to fight alone. Di Chong shrugged and continued, come out. The reason why your Jin clan's 7th grade Earth Sovereign was taken away was all because of Ningyu's interference. Russell, as Di Chang's voice rang out, the void shattered and a figure slowly walked out of it. 2nd grade Earth Sovereign? Looking at the silhouette that suddenly appeared, Ningyu was first stunned before he revealed a puzzled expression. Di Chong, this is the reinforcement that you've called for? MHM. Hearing Ningyu's words and Ningyu's expression, Di Chong was a little puzzled. Has he gone mad, or is his brain rusty? You're only a 7th grade Earth Sovereign, yet you're so calm, facing a 2nd grade Earth Sovereign. Needless to say, your brain must be rusty. Looks like I'm destined to be enemies with the Jin clan. Ningyu spread out his hands and revealed a helpless expression. His expression seemed to be saying, I don't want to be enemies with you, but you insist on being enemies with me. You're courting death. Ningyu's expression thoroughly infuriated Di Chong and the Jin clan's 2nd grade Earth Sovereign. Swish! Swish! The two of them stomped on the ground, one in front and one behind, and instantly rushed out. The Jin clan's 2nd grade Earth Sovereign was in front, while Di Chong was behind. We're here to help you. Seeing that Di Chong and the others were getting closer to Ningyu, The four pinnacle ninth grade Earth sovereigns braced themselves and said, even their elder, Chung Ling, wanted to protect Ningyu, so they had no other choice. No need. I can deal with these small fries by myself. Ningyu waved his hand, indicating that they didn't have to do anything. Ningyu's words not only made the four pinnacle ninth grade Earth sovereigns speechless, but also the spectators in the distance were a little confused. It wouldn't be a big deal if you were a 7th grade Earth sovereign, but you're only a 7th grade Earth sovereign. Facing a 9th grade Earth sovereign and a 2nd grade Earth sovereign, a 7th grade Earth sovereign actually dared to say such a thing. They had to admit that he was very courageous. What's the background of this Ningyu? I'm not sure. He seems to have appeared out of nowhere. Let's see if he's a dragon or a worm. I'm a little on Ningyu's side. After all, the Jin clan and Divine Emperor Palace haven't done anything bad over the years. Everyone was talking at once. But most of them didn't think highly of Ningyu and thought that Ningyu was doomed. This Ningyu isn't simple. The only one who thought highly of Ningyu wasn't a human sovereign, but a 7th grade Earth sovereign. Jihao the Broken Dragon Valley. Ever since Jihao laid eyes on Ningyu, he knew that Ningyu wasn't simple and that he must be hiding some kind of secret. Elder, you seem to think highly of Ningyu, right? Seeing Jihao's expression, a cultivator of the Broken Dragon Valley asked in confusion. In this cultivator's opinion, Ningyu would definitely die. No one in the world could save Ningyu. After so many years, he had never seen a 7th grade Earth sovereign who could fight against a 2nd grade Earth sovereign. Could Ningyu do it? Chapter 1359. Chapter 1359. Killing one first. I can't say that I'm optimistic about him. I can only say that Ningyu is special, Jihao said as he waved his hand. Although he was optimistic about Ningyu, it wasn't convenient for him to say it out in front of so many people. Neither the Emperor Palace nor the Jin family could afford to offend the Broken Dragon Valley. In the Pellet Formation continent, going against the Jin family and the Emperor Palace wouldn't end well. On the surface, there wasn't much difference between the Broken Dragon Valley and the Jin family, but only a few people knew about the actual situation. Jihao was one of the few people who did. Ha ha ha, shameless. With a burst of laughter, the 2nd grade Earth sovereign of the Jin clan clenched his fist and punched towards Ningyu. This expert from the Jin family had already reached the pinnacle 2nd grade sovereign realm. His strength was unfathomable. He was one of the top geniuses in the Jin family. Looks like I don't have to do anything. Seeing the powerful attacks from the Jin clan, Dichong instantly stopped and the corner of his lips rose. The strength of a 2nd grade Earth sovereign isn't something that you can what? However, before Dichong could finish his words, his mouth was agape, and his face was filled with disbelief. Crack! When the fist of the pinnacle 2nd grade Earth sovereign of the Jin family was a finger away from Ningyu's head, a sudden change occurred. A green branch suddenly flew out from Ningyu's spatial ring and struck the fist of the 2nd grade Earth sovereign of the Jin family. A crisp sound resounded. Everyone saw the 2nd grade Earth sovereign of the Jin family rapidly retreating as if he had seen a ghost. Where are you going? The most shocking thing was yet to come. The 2nd grade Earth sovereign of the Jin family wanted to escape, but Ningyu wouldn't allow that. He stomped his feet on the ground and charged out. He waved the red demonic sword in his hand, and several sword rays flew out, slashing towards the 2nd grade Earth sovereign of the Jin family. Russell. Ningyu's action left everyone dumbfounded. Even Jihao was stunned on the spot and was speechless for a long time. Jihao knew that Ningyu was strong, but he didn't expect Ningyu to be this strong. That's a pinnacle 2nd grade sovereign realm human sovereign, and you've defeated him with a simple emerald green branch? If Ningyu knew what everyone was thinking, he would probably roll his eyes. A random dark green branch? This was probably the first time the sapling had been insulted so badly ever since it gained consciousness. All right. While charging towards the Jin clan's pinnacle 2nd grade Earth sovereign, Ningyu transmitted his voice to the sapling. Won't you attract the attention of the 100 flowers, heavenly sovereign, and the rest? To be honest, Ningyu was very worried. Even though the sapling had said that the true bodies of heavenly venerate Centauria and the others weren't here, who wasn't afraid? Both Empyrean Hundred Flowers and the old lady from God Emperor Palace were at the sky's supreme realm. A single mishap might cause them to spy on him, and that would be a bit of a loss that outweighs the gains. It's fine. They can't even take care of themselves right now. How could they notice us? The sapling said indifferently. I'm warning you. Leave as soon as you get rid of this small fry. Understood. Ningyu naturally knew the severity of the situation. In fact, Ningyu didn't need the sapling's reminder. He had already made up his mind. He would kill the Jin clan's pinnacle second-grade Earth Sovereign, kill Di Chong, and then find a way to leave the city. As for fighting against the dark gold mystical tiger, what a joke. Didn't they see that Scarface and ferocious mystical wolves were already at a disadvantage? If they continued to fight, Scarface and ferocious mystical wolves would definitely be defeated or even killed. Where are you going? After realizing the seriousness of the situation, Ningyu instantly raised his speed to the limit and charged towards the Jin clan's pinnacle second-grade Earth Sovereign. The Jin clan's pinnacle second-grade Earth Sovereign was originally very powerful and fast, but there was a gust of chi colliding in his body, making him a little exhausted. Damn it! The Jin clan's pinnacle second-grade Earth Sovereign cursed inwardly and stopped. Ningyu, don't go too far. The Jin clan's pinnacle second-grade Earth Sovereign said coldly while suppressing the chi in his body, hoping to stall for time. Kill! How could Ningyu not know what the Jin clan's pinnacle second-grade Earth Sovereign was planning? He took out the red demon sword and slashed repeatedly. In a split second, several sword rays appeared and slashed towards the Jin clan's pinnacle second-grade Earth Sovereign. Law of space, bring me closer to him. Ningyu's killing intent was aroused, and he began to contact the law of space. Buzz. The law of space did not dare to be slow. It hurriedly tore through the void with Ningyu and appeared in front of the Jin clan's pinnacle second-grade Earth Sovereign in the blink of an eye. Shit. As soon as Ningyu disappeared, the Jin clan's pinnacle second-grade Earth Sovereign realized that something was wrong. However, with the help of the law of space, Ningyu's speed was so fast that it was terrifying. Poof! Tearing through the void, Ningyu stabbed out with the red demon sword. Precisely, Ningyu's sword stabbed into the Jin clan's pinnacle second-grade Earth Sovereign's heart. Primordial Spirit Battle Physique. With a low roar, Ningyu hurriedly took out the 10,000 sacred flag and summoned the Primordial Spirit Battle Physique. The Jin clan's pinnacle second-grade Earth Sovereign did not expect that Ningyu would have such a thing. For a moment, he was stunned on the spot. Of course, the Jin clan's pinnacle second-grade Earth Sovereign's physical body had already been destroyed. It was his primordial spirit that was stunned on the spot. Crack! The Primordial Spirit Battle Physique did not hold back. While the Jin clan's pinnacle second-grade Earth Sovereign was stunned, it opened its mouth and swallowed him. He's dead. Seeing the Jin clan's pinnacle second-grade Earth Sovereign being swallowed, the surrounding cultivators were all shocked. How long had it been? A pinnacle second-grade Earth Sovereign was actually killed by Ningyu? The one who was most shocked was none other than Di Chong. In the beginning, Di Chong had thought that he could defeat Ningyu with the Jin clan's pinnacle second-grade Earth Sovereign. But now, it seemed that he was wrong. Ningyu was simply a freak. He was outrageously fierce. You could go to hell now. After killing the Jin clan's pinnacle second-grade Earth Sovereign, Ningyu's gaze fell on Di Chong and he instantly rushed out. Ningyu knew his own limits. He did not help much in killing the Jin clan's pinnacle second-grade Earth Sovereign. It was mainly the sapling's contribution. Now, he had to show his strength to Di Chong. Elder, save me! Di Chong shouted when he saw Ningyu rushing towards him. Although Di Chong was very confident in his strength, the cultivator he was facing was a peerless expert. Even a pinnacle 9th-grade Earth Sovereign like him could kill a pinnacle 2nd-grade Earth Sovereign. Ningyu, how dare you? Although Di Chong was fighting with Chong Ling, his attention was always on Di Chong. Di Chong was a peerless genius of the divine Emperor Palace. He could not lose him. There's nothing to be afraid of. After experiencing so much, Ning Yu's mentality had long been tempered to be extraordinarily strong. Even if Di Chong attacked him, he would not give up on killing Di Chong, let alone Di Chong's scolding. Die! Ning Yu did not want to ask the sapling to kill Di Chong. He wanted to do it himself. The longevity flame in his left hand and the myriad bone flame in his right hand forcibly merged the two flames together. Go! Chapter 1360. Find a way to get out of here. Elder, save me. Seeing that the flames were about to reach him, Di Chong shouted. He even forgot to resist. Trash! Hurry up and resist. Di Chong was infuriated. He was angry at both Ning Yu and Di Chong. Most of all, he was disappointed in Di Chong. Ning Yu is only a 7th grade human sovereign. No matter how strong he is, it's impossible for him to kill you in a short period of time. If you resist with all your strength and use all your trump cards, you can at least resist for a few seconds. These few seconds were not to be underestimated. As long as Di Chong had a few seconds, he would be able to deal a fatal blow to Ning Yu. But now, everything was a mess. Di Chong was nervous. He only cared about calling for help and did not resist. Even though Di Chong's roar had awakened Di Chong, everyone knew that it was too late. In a panic, Di Chong responded. The primal chi in his body surged out, forming a protective primal chi barrier around his body. Rumble. Unfortunately, the flame Ning Yu had unleashed was too powerful. Wherever the flames passed, the air parted. Even the Yuan Chi protective barrier around Di Chong shattered. Puchi. The protective barrier shattered, and Di Chong was directly exposed to the attack range of the flames. The flames did not hold back and directly bombarded Di Chang's heart. It entered from the front and exited from the back. It did not stay in Di Chang's body for even a second. You! How did you? Lowering his head to look at his pierced heart, Di Chong opened his mouth, wanting to say something, but before he could finish his words, he collapsed to the ground dead. Di Chang's death was extremely thorough. Even his essence spirit was wiped out before it could escape. At this moment, all the surrounding martial artists looked at the flame with a solemn expression. It was a flame that could kill essence souls. No one was surprised that a primordial spirit battle body could devour a primordial spirit. After all, this was a publicly acknowledged fact in the Sky Fiend region. However, to everyone's surprise, this flame could also destroy primordial spirits. Ning Yu, you're courting death. Looking at Di Chong being killed right in front of his eyes, Di Chong was so angry that his lungs were about to explode. One had to know that his mission in the huge city was to help the dark gold mystic tiger recover and protect Di Chong. Now that the first mission was completed, the second mission was declared a failure. Even if he left the huge city, he would still be berated by Di Wuba. If you want to kill Ning Yu, you'll have to get past me first. Since she had decided to protect Ning Yu, Cheng Ling would not give up halfway. She kept Di Chong occupied so that he could not kill Ning Yu. Ning Yu, what should we do now? At this moment, Jin Lan was so shocked that he was even stuttering. The fact that Ning Yu could kill a 2nd-grade Earth Sovereign had indeed exceeded her expectations. It had also strengthened her resolve to help Ning Yu. Salad. Ning Yu's expression was very calm. He spread his hands and said, if there's really no other way, we'll leave the altar right now. Jin Lan stomped his feet in anger when he saw Ning Yu acting like he had nothing to lose, and he said, I have a space break scroll. I'll use it as soon as we leave the altar. By then, we'll be randomly teleported to some place in the Danshan continent. You have a space-piercing scroll. At this moment, Ning Yu was finally shocked. It was no wonder Jin Lan had always been fearless when facing him. The space-piercing scroll was extremely terrifying. It could tear through a barrier set up by a Sky Supreme expert. With the space-piercing scroll, Jin Lan was indeed confident. I only have one, and it can only take 2 people. Jin Lan looked at Cheng Ling and the 2 bloodthirsty mad wolves in the distance and said in a low voice, You keep the scroll. I don't need it. Ning Yu waved his hand and said, Although the space-piercing scroll was terrifying, it could only take 2 people at a time. On his side, including himself, the 2 bloodthirsty mad wolves and Chung Ling. There were nearly 10 people at the peak of the ninth grade Human Supreme. How could a space-piercing scroll do that? But Jinlan opened his mouth and wanted to remind Ningyu. However, seeing Ningyu's expression, Jinlan didn't continue. This is really troublesome. The law of space, the sapling. Do you have any ideas? Ningyu began to contact the law of space and the sapling. No matter what, he had to take the two bloodthirsty mad wolves away. The Dancing continent was full of danger. He had not even left the Void's secret land, but he had already become enemies with several forces. Emperor God Palace was a force. Even if they didn't look for Ningyu, Ningyu would find trouble with them. Ningyu had completely offended the Jin family, and it was a situation where he would not rest until he was dead. As for the elixir puppet of the Celestial Elixir Ridge and the black-clothed martial artists of the Three Stone Caves, they were both big trouble. Without a few powerful monsters following him, Ningyu was a little worried. This world was a dog-eat-dog world. There was no rule that the older generation couldn't attack the younger generation. Usually, when a younger generation was beaten up, the older generation would come. Of course, if the person who beat up the younger generation had a strong background, the older generation would definitely not show up. There's a way, but the success rate may be a little low. After a while, the law of space said, "The giant city is a bit special. I can find a way to break a passage, but I'm not sure where we will be teleported after leaving the giant city. Just tell me, what's our chance of survival?" Ningyu asked. Less than 50%, the law of space said. That's already very high. What if we take the two bloodthirsty mad wolves with us? What's our chance of survival? Ningyu asked again. No matter what, Ningyu had to take Scar and the bloodthirsty mad wolves with him, because once they were left behind, they would definitely die. The dark gold mystic tiger was not a pushover. I told you, less than 50%. The law of space was puzzled. Is there something wrong with your head? You're the one with the problem. Ningyu rolled his eyes. Since there was such a high success rate with two bloodthirsty mad wolves, it was worth the risk. Do you want to prepare? Ningyu took a deep breath and said in a low voice. No need. I'll open a passage later. You just need to go in, the law of space said. His tone seemed a bit serious. No problem. Ningyu knew that this was a critical moment of life and death. He couldn't be careless. Therefore, he first asked Chung Ling for her opinion through soul sound transmission. Chung Ling glanced at Ningyu and surprisingly didn't stop him. However, she made it clear that she wouldn't leave with Ningyu. They wanted to leave from the altar. They were different from Ningyu. Once they left the giant city, their lives wouldn't be in danger. The Hundred Flowers Palace's Fairy Yun, she wasn't someone to be trifled with. If you can survive, try to go to the Hundred Flowers Palace. Chung Ling warned. However, when these words fell into Ningyu's ears, he felt very speechless. No matter how he listened to it, it didn't sound good. Next, Ningyu asked for Jinlan's opinion. The result was obvious. Jinlan refused and wanted to invite Ningyu to leave with her. Naturally, Ningyu wouldn't leave with Jinlan. Scar and the bloodthirsty mad wolves, get ready. Listen to my orders. Chapter 1361. Chapter 1361. Chapter 1361. The impact of Ningyu's voice transmission was not weak. Scarred wolf and ferocious bloodthirsty wolf were careless. The dark gold mystic tiger seized the opportunity and knocked them back. Blood spurted out of their mouths, and the two wolves' auras became extremely weak. Damn it! Seeing scarred wolf and ferocious wolf vomiting blood, Ningyu's face darkened. After all, scarred wolf and ferocious wolf were injured because of him. Fortunately, Ningyu was relieved that scarred wolf and ferocious wolf were sent flying in his direction. Buzz, buzz, buzz. At the same time, the law of space began to move. The space shook, and in an instant, a space tunnel formed by golden light appeared. Let's go, Ningyu shouted when he saw the law of space set up a spatial tunnel. Then, he leaped up and entered the tunnel. Swoosh, swoosh. Behind Ningyu, scarred wolf and ferocious wolf did not dare to delay. They hurriedly tore through the void and rushed toward the space tunnel. Scarred wolf and ferocious wolf knew very well that they would die if they stayed. At this time, they had to trust Ning Yu unconditionally. Their confidence could not be shaken. Therefore, Scarred Wolf and Ferocious Wolf were very fast. They did not even hesitate to burn their blood essence to increase their speed. Scarred Wolf and Ferocious Wolf were not far from the space tunnel. Coupled with their speed, they arrived in front of the tunnel in an instant. Without saying a word, Scarred Wolf and Ferocious Wolf jumped into the space tunnel. Roar! It was not until Ning Yu and Ferocious Wolf completely disappeared that the dark gold Mystic Tiger and Di Chong reacted. They moved forward side by side, madly rushing toward the space tunnel. Boom! Unfortunately, their speed was obviously slower by half a beat. As soon as Scarred Wolf and Ferocious Wolf entered the space tunnel, it closed completely, and everything returned to normal. Let's go! Chung Ling glanced in the direction where the space tunnel disappeared, then jumped out and rushed to the altar. Swoosh! 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 Behind Chung Ling, 5 figures quickly rushed out. Needless to say, the extra figure was Jin Lan. Retreat! Since Ning Yu and the others had escaped, there was no need for Ji Hao to stay. He escorted the 4-peak 9th grade human supremes of the Broken Dragon Valley and approached the altar step by step, wanting to leave from the altar. Voila! Not only did Broken Dragon Valley's Ji Hao want to leave, but even the Great Sword Sects and Fire God Sects cultivators wanted to leave like a swarm of bees. They had entered the giant city relatively early, so they had obtained some good fortune. Although they hadn't advanced to the 1st grade Earth Sovereign Realm, they knew that nothing good would come out of staying here. Anyway, the 3 hours were almost up, and they wouldn't lose much if they left now. Outside the empty secret realm, after a period of recuperation, Jin Xiong and the others finally recovered to their peak state. After sending 4 7th grade Earth Sovereigns into the giant city, Jin Xiong and the rest had encountered an unprecedented crisis. Fortunately, they were very strong and had a solid foundation. Otherwise, this kind of injury would take them a long time to recuperate. How long do you think we should wait? The quiet area was broken by a voice. The cultivator who spoke came from a small sect and was a 5th grade human supremacy. Originally, this small sect wanted to try their luck, but who would have thought that the conditions to enter the giant city were so high that they completely lost hope. Now that they had waited for a few hours, they had lost their patience and even wanted to leave. It's hard to say. It depends on how long those geniuses stay in there. That's right. According to my estimation, at least 80% of the peerless geniuses who entered the giant city will advance to the Earth's sovereign realm. 80%? You're underestimating them. In my opinion, it must be 100%. Before the last cultivator could finish his sentence, Jin Xiong and Di Wuba snorted coldly at the same time. Hearing Jin Xiong and Di Wuba's cold snorts, the cultivator who spoke just now instantly shut his mouth. 80%? 100%? That was purely courting death. One should know that the 4 peerless geniuses of the Jin clan had all died in the giant city. The Emperor Divine Palace was slightly better, but they also lost 3 peerless geniuses. How could they say that? Crack! At this moment, a crisp sound rang out again. Hearing this figure, everyone was dumbfounded. A cultivator from the Emperor Divine Palace opened his mouth wide as he looked at the shattered soul token in his hand. His face was filled with fear. Needless to say, the last peerless genius of the Emperor Divine Palace had also been killed. Crack, crack! Di Wuba clenched his fists tightly, and his body trembled domineeringly. Whether a sect could prosper for a long time depended on the number of peerless geniuses and high-end combat strength. After losing 4 peerless geniuses this time, Di Wuba's heart was bleeding. He finally understood what Jin Xiong was thinking. Whoosh! Suddenly, the altar emitted a bright golden light. Then, several figures tore through the void and appeared on the altar. It's the people from the 100 Flower Palace. 4 of them are peak 9th grade human sovereigns and a 7th grade Earth Supreme. They are all unharmed. Who is that woman? Why did she use a space-piercing scroll? Did she leave? The people from the Broken Dragon Valley are also unharmed. Look, it's the people from the Great Sword Sect, Fire God Sect, Evil Monarch Manor, and Death Valley. It seems that the peerless genius of the Great Sword Sect has obtained some good fortune. Although he did not advance to the Earth Supreme Realm, his cultivation has reached the half-step Earth Supreme Realm. The people from the Fire God Sect are not bad. They're only half a step away from the half-step Earth Supreme Realm. The people from the Evil Monarch Manor and Death Valley are a little worse. They don't seem to have obtained much good fortune. Everyone was discussing, and the surroundings were lively. Of course, some people were happy, while others were sad. The one who was most depressed was Jin Xiong. Not only did the 4 peerless geniuses die inside, but even a second-grade Earth Supreme Realm died inside. What was more exaggerated was that the 7th-grade Earth Supreme Realm, Jin Fu, did not leave either. Look, someone else came out. Suddenly, everyone's gaze shifted to the altar. Rumble. A rumbling sound rang out, and then the altar emitted a bright golden light. 2 figures quietly appeared. It's Di Chong. Who's the other one? It seems to be a demonic beast. I know, it's the dark golden mystic tiger, and its cultivation has reached the 6th grade Earth Supreme Realm. Just when everyone's attention was on the dark golden mystic tiger, a powerful voice resounded in the area. From today onwards, the Void Secret Realm will be closed for 3 years. No one is allowed to step into the Void Secret Realm. Anyone who dares to step into the Void Secret Realm will be killed without mercy. Wah! This sentence was extremely powerful and domineering, leaving no room for negotiation. The surroundings were in an uproar, but everyone was clear that no one wanted to stand out at this time. The Void Secret Realm was a good place to train. If the Void Secret Realm was closed, the ones who would suffer the most would be the Jin Clan, Emperor Palace, and the other powerful sections. Swish! Chapter 1362. Chapter 1362. Chapter 1362. Starcloud, City. Both Di Wuba and Jinlan's faces darkened when they heard the powerful voice. The closure of the Void Secret Realm was indeed a great loss to them. However, as the higher-ups of their respective sects, they more or less knew what had happened in the Void Secret Realm. None of them had expected this to happen, and there was nothing they could do about it. By the way, why hasn't the 7th grade Earth Supreme of the Jin Clan come out? Suddenly, someone thought of a terrifying possibility. Now that the Void Secret Realm was closed and the 7th grade Earth Supreme of the Jin Clan had yet to leave, wouldn't that mean that he would be trapped in there for 3 years? Whoosh! Everyone's eyes fell on Jin Xiong. Senior, there are still people from the Jin Clan in the Void Secret Realm. Can you make an exception? Thinking of Jin Fu and Jin Liefei and the others who had entered the Void Secret Realm not long ago, Jin Xiong had to bite the bullet. Those people were the higher-ups of the Jin Clan. If they were all trapped in the Void Secret Realm for 3 years, the strength of the Jin Clan would be greatly affected. It might even drop by a level. Even if those people came out of the Void Secret Realm after 3 years, it might be man-made. I know what you're thinking, but I can tell you clearly that there are no humans in the Void Secret Realm. The voice came out from the altar again. However, Jin Xiong's jaw dropped when he heard the voice. He was completely dumbfounded. There were no humans in the Void Secret Realm? If that was the case, where were Jin Liefei and the others who had entered the Void Secret Realm? Were they all dead? All kinds of doubts flashed through Jin Xiong's mind. Finally, Jin Xiong felt a tightness in his chest, and he suddenly spat out a mouthful of blood. 4 peerless geniuses were killed. That was fine. The Jin Clan still had other geniuses. A 2nd grade Earth Supreme was killed. That was fine. The Jin Clan still had many Earth Supreme experts. Jin Fu's death was not something that could not be accepted. However, the death of Jin Liefei and the others was like a bolt from the blue to the Jin Clan. It was unacceptable. Let's go. With a gloomy expression, Jin Xiong waved his hand and rushed toward the Qin Empire. Jin Xiong was very anxious. He wanted to tell this matter to the Jin family's ancestor, and he also wanted to seal off the news. This was especially true for the hostile forces of the Jin clan. They could not be allowed to know that Jean Liefei and the others had been completely annihilated. Otherwise, all the forces would definitely gather in the Qin Empire. At that time, it was still unknown whether the Jean family could continue to hold on. Jean Xiong leaving in such a hurry made everyone very puzzled. Although they were confused, since the empty secret realm would be sealed for 3 years, there was no need for these people to stay. Voila! Therefore, the crowd dispersed and quickly disappeared. Buzz! Not long after everyone left, a figure quietly appeared. Did he really die inside? This figure was none other than the one who had a conflict with Ningyu in the Celestial Dan Hall. Xie. After pausing for a while, Xie Yi's figure flashed as he flew into the distance. Buzz! After a while, the space cracked open again. The two figures that appeared this time were the black-clothed martial artist and the three-legged golden crow. What a pity! The empty secret realm has been sealed for 3 years. I won't be able to get the Kuan Peng Bone. The black-clothed martial artist shook his head and said, "The winds are rising and the clouds are gathering. I didn't expect someone from the Danshi to appear. It seems like I will have to switch to another clone." As he spoke, the black-clothed martial artist's figure gradually became illusory. Very quickly, he turned into a shadow and disappeared. The black-clothed martial artist disappeared. The three-legged golden crow shuddered. For some reason, the three-legged golden crow felt that the black-clothed martial artist had not gone far. It was as if he was staring at it from a void. I should return to the clan as soon as possible. The three-legged golden crow looked left and right. Then, he flapped his wings and flew in a specific direction. After everyone left, at the exit of the empty secret realm, the ground below the altar suddenly caved in. The altar that stood above the ground completely sank into the ground. This trip to the empty secret realm had some happy and some sad. However, everyone agreed that in the coming days, the Qinya Empire and even the entire Danshi mainland would be reshuffled. Star Cloud City. Located in the center of the Qinya Empire, it was the largest city in the Qinya Empire apart from the capital. The city walls were tall, and the buildings in the city were majestic. It had a majestic aura. Rumor had it that when Star Cloud City was first built, all the alchemy geniuses in the Qinya Empire gathered in Star Cloud City to hold the alchemy competition of the Qinya Empire. In the end, an alchemy genius named Xing Yun won first place, and Star Cloud City was named after him. Since then, Star Cloud City had become the holy land of alchemy in the Qinya Empire. Almost all the alchemists in the Qinya Empire would head to Star Cloud City, hoping to enter Star Cloud Academy and become a member. This was because the dean of Star Cloud Academy was Grandmaster Xing Yun, a peak 9th grade alchemist. In the Sky Demon territory, any peak 9th grade alchemist was a high and mighty existence. If anyone could receive guidance from Grandmaster Xing Yun, they would probably wake up smiling even in their dreams. Star Cloud City was especially lively today. Not only were all the alchemists in the Qinya Empire gathered here, but even the other 3 empires had sent their own alchemy geniuses over, hoping to receive guidance from Grandmaster Xing Yun. There were a total of 4 empires in the Dansheng mainland: Qinya Empire, Cloudy Wind Empire, Heavenly Dragon Empire, and Purple Sun Empire. Although there were 9th grade alchemists in the other 3 empires, their alchemy level was only at the advanced stage of 9th grade alchemy. There was always a layer of paper between them and a peak 9th grade alchemist. "Hey, have you heard?" Grandmaster Xing Yun said that whoever wins first place in this alchemy competition will have the opportunity to talk to him face to face. Who doesn't know? In order to have a chance to talk to Grandmaster Xing Yun, the other 3 empires sent their strongest lineup. Even the peerless genius who had just gone into seclusion was called over. "What are you guys waiting for? Hurry up, there won't be any seats left if you wait any longer." Russell, all the martial artists and alchemists in Star Cloud City were boiling with excitement. Everyone rushed towards the Nebula Academy, striving to outdo each other. Because there were too many people participating in this alchemy competition, Grandmaster Xingyun announced that only alchemists under the age of 30 were allowed to participate, and the strength of their soul force could not be weaker than 5th-grade alchemy. In order to facilitate the registration, there were a total of 10 registration tables in front of the main entrance of StarCloud Academy. Behind each registration table, there was a huge soul testing tablet. As long as one placed their hand on it, the tablet would show the level of their soul force. Sister Yao, we can't go on like this. Should we lower our requirements a little? Out of the 10 registration tables, the other 9 were full of people. Only the first registration table had no one in sight. I'm very curious. Inside the first registration table, a beautiful lady frowned and said, "Our requirements are very low. Why didn't anyone come? Are they not confident?" Hearing the beautiful lady's words, the other 2 young men who were in charge of recording rolled their eyes and were speechless. You call this low requirements? The other registration tables had very simple requirements. As long as one was under the age of 30 and the strength of their soul force was higher than 5th-grade alchemist. Chapter 1363. Sign up, there's still no one on Yao Qiong's side. That's right. Look at her life-saving requirements. An alchemist under the age of 25 must have a soul force strength of 8th grade. Does she think that everyone is as abnormal as her? I don't know what she's thinking. This alchemy competition was personally ordered by Grandmaster Xingyun, but she insisted on coming to cause trouble. Someone else is qualified to cause trouble. That person is the last disciple of Master Xingyun. It might be Master Xingyun's order. Let's not ask around blindly. Registration is more important. The discussions of the crowd entered into the ears of Xia Qing and Zhao Tai, causing them to be speechless. What did he mean by Master Xingyun's order? Others might not know, but the 2 of them knew very well. Within Nebula Academy, there was a pagoda called the Yuzun Pagoda. The Tower of Ascension had a total of 9 levels, and it was rumored that each level corresponded to a soul force strength. In other words, a 5th-grade soul force could ascend to the 5th floor, and a 7th-grade soul force could ascend to the 7th floor. However, there were exceptions to everything. Even if one soul force reached the pinnacle of Tier 8, there was no way to ascend to the 8th level of the Nebula Pagoda. Yao Qiong's soul force was at the 8th grade. Over the years, she had entered the Tower of Yuzun more than once, but without exception, she had always stopped at the 7th level. Therefore, every time Nebula Academy recruited students or held an alchemy competition, she would set up a registration counter and write down the requirements. Age below 25 years old. Soul power strength, tentatively set at rank 8. Higher wouldn't be a problem. As long as he could reach the 8th level of the Tower of Yuzun, the conditions could be relaxed. Sister Yao, we've been waiting here for half a day. I don't think anyone will come to sign up. Xia Qing braced herself and said. Zhao Tai also had a hopeful look on his face. The 2 of them were forced to come. They had no choice but to come. After all, be it in martial arts or alchemy, Yao Qiong would definitely crush them. Who says no one will come? Yao Qiong's face was expressionless as she said, I observed the stars last night and realized that someone would be coming to register today. All right. Upon hearing Yao Qiong's words, Xia Qing and Zhao Tai both pulled long faces and looked dispirited. Someone came to sign up. Even if there were people who met the requirements, they would never sign up. Any talented alchemist would have heard of the Tower of Ascension. The Tower of the Supreme of You was indeed very special. Every time one ascended a level, they would be rewarded with many things. However, one had to pay a hefty price to enter the Tower of Yuzu. Someone had calculated that unless one reached the 8th level of the Tower of Yuzun, they would suffer a loss if they entered. They would lose so much that they wouldn't even be left with their pants. In the past, there were a few idiots who came to sign up, but when they heard that they had to pay a huge price to enter, they all cried and shouted that they wanted to give up. It would be strange if someone came to sign up. That's right. No one will come to sign up. It's time to open. It's time to open. 1 bet, 1 to 10. Don't miss it. Hurry up and buy. I guarantee that you'll make a fortune. I'll do it. 1,000 royal grade origin crystals. No one will come and sign up. Go, 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 go. Didn't you hear what I said? I'll only open one betting stand. If someone comes over to sign up for this stand, I'll pay you back 10 times for everyone you buy. I'm honest with you." Before the voice of the martial artist who had set up the bet had faded, the crowd dispersed in an uproar. Buy people to sign up? What a joke. No one wanted to lose Origin Crystal for nothing. Sigh, what bad luck. It's getting worse every year. The martial artist who had set up the bet lightly sighed. But very quickly, he changed his tone and said, "Damn, your requirements are so high. Unless someone falls from the sky and directly falls onto your registration stand, if anyone dares to sign up at your stand, I'll crack." The martial artist had only spoken halfway when his mouth opened wide. His eyes widened and his face was filled with a dumbfounded expression. Swoosh! Apart from this martial artist, even the martial artists at the entrance of the Nebula Academy were dumbfounded. What the hell? This was the thought in everyone's mind. The space above the registration stand, where Yao Qiong and the others were, it split open. A figure fell down and smashed the registration stand into pieces. Gulp! Swallowing a mouthful of saliva, the martial artist who had set up the bet felt that it was inconceivable. He said, "Someone really fell from the sky. Fortunately, I didn't open the bet just now. Otherwise, I would have lost so much that I wouldn't even have my underwear left." Oh my God, there's really someone who wants to sign up? Could it be that he's attracted by Yao Qiong's beauty and wants to use this method to attract Yao Qiong's attention? That's really possible. The crowd discussed, but the majority agreed with this view. In Nebula City, and even in the Thousand Leaf Empire, there were countless people who liked Yao Qiong. In order to woo Yao Qiong, some people used all kinds of methods. Needless to say, this martial artist's method was indeed quite novel. Secretly, some young men gave the grimacing man on the ground a thumbs up. "Io, the law of space, where the hell did you bring me?" Rubbing his slightly painful butt, Ningyu couldn't help but start complaining. Although he knew that he had successfully survived, Ningyu still wanted to complain. After all, the law of space could have helped him, but he didn't. There's an expert. It's not convenient for me to act. The voice of the law of space sounded in Ningyu's mind. Hearing this voice, Ningyu was first stunned. Then, he exerted some force in his legs and stood up. "My apologies, I broke your table. I'll compensate you." Looking at the wooden splinters on the ground, Ningyu said, "I can't find you a table that's exactly the same in a short period of time. How about this? I'll give you a few crystals." As he spoke, Ningyu's perception rummaged through his storage ring, trying to find crystals. Very soon, Ningyu revealed an awkward expression. The Kurnim was a pauper. Forget crystals, he didn't even have gold coins. "Are you here to sign up?" Yao Qiong stared at Ningyu and asked. "Sign up?" Ningyu was taken aback and asked doubtfully, "Sign up for what?" "Ha ha ha!" Ningyu's words caused the surrounding martial artists to burst into laughter. "All of you shut up." Yao Qiong flipped out and said coldly, "I'll ask you one last time. Are you here to sign up?" Yao Qiong enunciated the last few words one at a time. Her words, combined with Yao Qiong's aura, caused the surrounding martial artists to shut up. "My apologies, I'm not here to sign up." "Oh." Ningyu frowned and shook his head. "You don't have to sign up, but you have to compensate me for my table." "An identical table," Yao Qiong said coldly. Ningyu was dumbfounded. He had just escaped from the void mystic realm. He had not even figured out what was going on, and he was already in trouble again? Sign up? Sign up for what? What the F***CK? There was only one thought in Ningyu's mind, and that was to leave as soon as possible to prevent being discovered by the Jin family's experts. Chapter 1364. Chapter 1364, Decapitation. Yao Qiong, is furious. That cultivator has to agree whether he wants to or not. Isn't that right? Yao Qiong is famous for being domineering. Once she has set her mind on something, she will never change. "Hey kid, you'd better agree to it. Otherwise, you won't be able to leave." "That's right. Agreeing to it won't be a bad thing for you." As the crowd discussed, they even started to persuade Ningyu. Of course, most of the cultivators were just watching the show. As the saying went, Watching a show doesn't mind if things get out of hand. I really have something urgent to attend to. Ningyu put on a long face and pretended to be very anxious. How about this? Tomorrow, I promise to come and sign up, Ningyu said righteously, with a look of awe-inspiring righteousness. Yao Qiong crossed her arms in front of her chest and looked at Ningyu quietly, without saying a word. Her request was very simple. Sign up or pay for an identical table. Otherwise, don't even think about leaving. In my opinion, you should agree to Sister Yao. Seeing that the situation was a little awkward, Xiaqing could only bite the bullet and approach Ningyu. She lowered her voice and said, in the past, there were a few people like you who wanted to attract Sister Yao's attention. In the end, they were all crippled. As she spoke, Xiaqing casually glanced at Ningyu's lower body. Xiaqing's action made Ningyu's heart skip a beat. He hurriedly clamped his legs together. What the F*** CK? Are you trying to let me live? I brought the message. As for how you choose, I won't make the decision for you. Xiaqing pretended to leave as if nothing had happened. Gulp. Ningyu swallowed a mouthful of saliva. He was really unlucky. He had just emerged from the pitch-black spatial tunnel. He did not even see the scarred and ferocious, bloodthirsty berserk wolves. But he actually encountered such a thing. What? You're talking about force buying? I can tell you honestly, it's even more terrifying than that. All right, I agree to it. One had no choice but to lower one's head under the eaves. Moreover, the law of space said that there was a peerless powerhouse here. Ningyu didn't want to be in danger again right after escaping from danger. That's more like it. Follow me. Yao Qiong nodded with satisfaction and said, there's no time to lose. I'll take you there right now. Wait. As she spoke, Yao Qiong seemed to have thought of something. He turned around and looked at Ningyu. You should be younger than 25, right? Ningyu was confused, but he still said, yes, less than 25. What rank is your soul power? Yao Qiong asked again. Why are you asking this? Ningyu frowned. He did not know what Yao Qiong meant. What I mean is, what grade of alchemist are you? Yao Qiong said in a deep voice. Am I an alchemist? I'm not an alchemist. Ningyu stretched out his right hand and pointed at his nose, revealing an exaggerated expression. No matter how stupid Ningyu was, from the whispers of the crowd and the words on the registration platform, he found some clues. In the end, this Nebula Academy was holding a face competition, and today was the registration day. After discovering these clues, Ningyu naturally had to find a way to leave. This was the Thousand Leaf Empire. Even if there was an alchemy competition, the Jin family would definitely participate. If this Yao Qiong made things difficult for him again, he would definitely run. The crowd burst into laughter when they heard Ningyu's words. In the end, he wasn't even an alchemist. How embarrassing. Beauty Yao is going to suffer this time. I didn't expect her to fail because of this guy. In my opinion, this guy is definitely an alchemist. He just doesn't want to go to the Yuzuan Tower. I agree. Yao Qiong thinks that everyone is like her, able to enter the Yuzuan Tower at any time. Every time the Yuzuan Tower opens, it consumes a huge amount of resources. Ordinary people can't afford it. Hearing this, Ningyu's heart stirred. He didn't know Yao Qiong, nor had he heard of Nebula Academy. However, he knew this Yuzuan Tower very well. To be precise, in his previous life, this Yuzuan Tower belonged to him. The Yuzuan Tower specialized in nurturing alchemist geniuses. It could allow alchemists to improve even further. Any 8th grade alchemist under the age of 30 who could ascend to the 8th floor of the Yuzuan Tower would unconditionally increase their soul force by 1 level. The reason why the Yuzuan Tower was so abnormal was because Ningyu had left 2 ancient arrays on the 8th and 9th floor. These 2 ancient arrays had the effect of nourishing the soul, which was a great help in cultivating soul force. In his previous life, Ningyu accepted a disciple. Of course, the news of Ningyu accepting a disciple was not known by anyone in the vast sky demon domain. When he was besieged, that disciple happened to be inside the Yuzuan Tower and did not come out, so he was lucky enough to escape. Did that kid change his name to Grandmaster Xingyan? Ningyu's heart shook. He vaguely remembered that the disciple he accepted was an orphan. However, he was talented in alchemy, willing to endure hardships and study hard. It was because of that disciple's willingness to endure hardships that Ningyu decided to give him the Yuzuan Tower. Otherwise, why would Ningyu give a treasure as precious as the Yuzuan Tower to someone else so easily? This was because the Yuzuan Tower had a secret. It wasn't just a tower, but a treasure that surpassed the emperor rank. Thinking of this, Ningyu sorted out his thoughts and smiled apologetically at Yao Qiong. "I'm sorry, I was just joking. I'm actually an 8th grade alchemist." Ningyu's calm demeanor and the change in his expression caused the crowd to burst into laughter once more. This is too funny. Is he a clown hired by a monkey? More or less, but he's quite bold. That's Yao Qiong, the devil Yao. He actually dared to tease her like this. Maybe he's bold because he's skilled? Didn't you hear him say that he's an 8th grade alchemist? The crowd's discussion fell into Yao Qiong's ears, and she was instantly infuriated. How dare he tease me? Whoosh! With both feet on the ground, Yao Qiong quickly rushed out. "Sister Yao, don't." Seeing Yao Qiong rush out, Xia Qing hurriedly shouted, "What are you waiting for? Hurry up and apologize to Sister Yao." On the other side, Zhao Tai also hurriedly reminded Ningyu, "Young man, hurry up and beg for mercy. Otherwise, Devil Yao will kill you. Don't scare the handsome little guy. At most, Devil Yao will cripple him." How could he kill him? Demons may be tyrannical, but they still have a sense of propriety. At most, they'll cripple him and make him a eunuch. Some try to persuade Ningyu to admit his mistake, while others just wanted to watch the show and add fuel to the fire. Although there were many different opinions, everyone had the same thought. Ningyu was going to suffer. Yao Qiong was Grandmaster Xing Yun's eldest disciple. Not only was her soul force at the late 8th grade, but her cultivation was also at the peak of 9th grade. Chapter 1365. Frost Iron Sect, brat, take this. Otherwise, don't even think of leaving today. Yao Qiong's speed was extremely fast. In the blink of an eye, she had arrived before Ningyu. She clenched her right hand into a fist and violently punched towards Ningyu. On the surface, Yao Qiong's punch seemed very powerful. However, that wasn't the case. This was the Nebula Academy, and with so many people watching, she naturally wouldn't kill. 50% of her strength. Yao Qiong's original intention was to teach Ningyu a lesson. Therefore, she had only used 50% of her strength. However, Yao Qiong was a pinnacle 9th grade sovereign. Therefore, 50% of her strength was also very shocking. Have mercy, I was only joking with you. Looking at the fist that was inches away from him, Ningyu yelled in an attempt to wake Yao Qiong up. However, Yao Qiong had already determined that Ningyu was teasing her. No matter what, she would still throw this punch. Since he couldn't dodge it, Ningyu could only bite the bullet and throw a punch out. Boom! The two fists collided. Ningyu was like a kite with its string cut as he fell backwards. Crack! Ningyu's body slammed into another registration platform, shattering it into pieces. I'm sorry. After that move, Ningyu hastily crawled up from the ground and apologized profusely. In fact, Ningyu was very clear that he couldn't reveal his martial Dao strength here, no matter what. Not to mention the peerless experts in the Nebula Academy, there were also many Earth sovereigns amongst the spectators. Revealing his martial Dao strength here was simply courting death. Ha ha! Everyone burst into laughter when they saw Ningyu smash another registration platform. Not simple, this person is not simple. In the crowd, a young man in black frowned his brows as he stared at Ningyu and said, "Find a way to investigate his background." Investigate. Find out his background. We can't afford any mistakes in the alchemy competition organized by the Nebula Academy. Check it out. If there's no one behind him, find a way to kill him. What Ningyu didn't know was that he had become a target of public criticism because he didn't suffer any serious injuries from Yao Qiong's attack. Of course, Ningyu did not care about what these people thought. At this moment, he slowly walked toward Yao Qiong and said, "I was just joking. I really am an 8th grade alchemist. If you don't believe me, you can check it." Are you Really an 8th grade apothecary? Hearing Ning Yu's words, coupled with the fact that Ning Yu had withstood her punch and remained unscathed, Yao Qiong's heart wavered a little. In the flesh, Ning Yu raised his head and puffed out his chest. Humph! What's going on today? Why does any Tom, Dick, or Harry dare to come here? At this moment, a cold snort sounded from the crowd. Then a young man in white walked straight towards Ning Yu. Sister Yao, I completely meet your requirements. Can you bring me to the Yuzuan Tower now? Ning Yu ignored the man in white and even began to call Yao Qiong as Sister Yao. The Yuzuan Tower was an artifact and a good place to train one's soul force. Although he didn't know why the Yuzuan Tower was in Nebula Academy, Ning Yu was very clear that as long as he could reach the 8th floor of the tower, his soul force would rise to the peak of 8th grade. Most importantly, Ning Yu wanted to reach the 10th floor of the Yuzuan Tower and activate the array there to take away the Yuzuan Tower. In any case, the Yuzuan Tower belonged to Ning Yu 20 years ago. If Ning Yu took it away, there would be no psychological burden. Didn't you hear what I said? Seeing Ning Yu ignore him, the man in white's face instantly turned gloomy. He scolded, "You said you're an 8th grade alchemist, so you're an 8th grade alchemist. What proof do you have?" Sister Yao, I guarantee that I meet the requirements. Why don't we go to the Yuzuan Tower now? With my talent, not to mention the 8th floor, even the 9th and 10th floor would be a cinch. Ning Yu patted his chest and guaranteed, as if ascending the Yuzuan Tower was as simple as eating a meal. I'm so angry. The man in white trembled with anger. No matter what, he was a peerless genius of the Frost Metal School. The man in front of him didn't give him any face, which made him furious. Yao Qiong, this brat has provoked you time and time again. It's not convenient for you to act. Let me teach him a lesson. After all, this was Nebula Academy. The man in white didn't dare to act without Yao Qiong's permission. During the previous registrations, there were fights in front of Nebula Academy, but they were all caught by Yao Qiong and thrown out of Nebula City. The man in white didn't want to provoke Yao Qiong. Who is this guy? Ning Yu slightly knitted his brows and grabbed Xia Qing. Does he like Sister Yao? Xia Qing rolled her eyes at Ning Yu's question. She lowered her voice and said, his name is Baijan. He's a peerless genius of the Frost Metal School. He's a 7th grade sovereign with an initial phase 7th grade soul energy. A 7th grade sovereign is also a peerless genius? Ning Yu opened his mouth and said exaggeratedly, if that's the case, then I'm also a peerless genius? I never thought that I would become a peerless genius one day. Ning Yu's words caused everyone to be speechless. This was especially true for Baijan. He was so angry that white smoke was coming out of his nostrils. Shoo, lower your voice. Baijan is very powerful. Don't underestimate him, just because he's a 7th grade sovereign. Ordinary 8th grade sovereigns aren't his match. Xia Qing immediately signaled to Ning Yu with her eyes and said, furthermore, the Frost Metal School has just merged with the Emperor Palace, becoming a subsidiary of the Emperor Palace. Merged with the Emperor Palace. Hearing that, Ning Yu raised his brows and his face turned a little gloomy. Enemies were bound to meet on a narrow road. He had enmity with the Emperor Palace, but the Frost Metal School had merged with the Emperor Palace. Most importantly, the peerless genius of the Frost Metal School had taken the initiative to provoke him. It was truly unbearable even if it could be tolerated. However, Ning Yu did not take the initiative to attack. He moved closer to Xia Qing and asked, what's the cultivation of the strongest expert of the Frost Metal School? 3rd grade Earth Sovereign. Xia Qing replied. But soon, Xia Qing's face turned vigilant and she said, don't be impulsive. Although the Frost Metal School often does shady things, they've already been subdued by the Emperor Palace. You can't do anything stupid. How could I do anything stupid? Ning Yu was speechless. Xia Qing was too sensitive. If Xia Qing knew that his intention was to wipe out the Frost Metal School, how would she feel? Would she be scared out of her wits? By the way, did the 3rd grade Earth Sovereign of the Frost Metal School come today? Ning Yu asked again. He had no choice. This was Star Cloud City, after all. It was safer to make a move after finding out the situation. They didn't come. The leader of the Frost Metal School is a first-grade Earth Sovereign. He's so powerful that even Sister Yao doesn't want to offend him. "Hey, what are you doing?" Xia Qing explained. However, before Xia Qing could finish her explanation, Ningyu moved toward Baijan. There was a saying that went, "If a tiger doesn't show its power, you'll think it's a sick cat." Ningyu felt that he couldn't tolerate it anymore. After all, he had to display his strength and make some small fries fear him. Chapter 1366. Disgrace. Although Ningyu seemed slow, he was actually very fast. In the blink of an eye, Ningyu had arrived before Baijan. After sizing up Baijan, Ningyu said, "You want to teach me a lesson?" "What? Do you have any other ideas?" Baijan was slightly stunned and said, "You're just a 7th-grade sovereign, yet you dare to take liberties with Yao Qiong? You must be tired of living." At this moment, Baijan was very excited. At the beginning, he was still thinking about how to cause trouble for Ningyu. Who would have thought that Ningyu would come to him on his own accord? "Yao Qiong, you don't have any objections to me teaching this arrogant brat a lesson, right?" Although Baijan wanted to teach Ningyu a lesson, he did not forget where he was. So, he turned around and asked Yao Qiong for her opinion. "I don't mind," Yao Qiong replied with a slight frown. In fact, Yao Qiong had long disliked Baijan. If it wasn't for Han Taiman's Earth Sovereign, she would have kicked Baijan away. Now that Baijan wanted to humiliate himself, how could Yao Qiong stop him? In Yao Qiong's opinion, Ningyu was very powerful. He was only slightly weaker than her. Why not use Ningyu to teach Baijan a lesson? Not only could she teach Baijan a lesson, but she could also see Ning use true strength. "Brat, Baijan, do not beat up nameless people." After receiving Yao Qiong's approval, Baijan rejoiced and said, "Tell me your name. I'm sorry, but my name is Nameless." Ningyu waved his hand and interrupted Baijan. "Nameless?" Baijan was slightly stunned when he heard Ning use words. "Nameless? There's actually someone with this name?" Baijan only reacted when someone beside him laughed. When he reacted, his face turned ashen and drained of blood. This brat is really arrogant. He had said that he would not beat up a nameless person. Now that this kid called him nameless, it was clearly a slap to his face. "I think I heard someone say that they don't fight nameless people. My name is John Doe. Are you going to fight or not?" Ningyu crossed his arms in front of his chest as he looked at Baijan with interest. "You're courting death." After being ridiculed by Ningyu in front of so many people, Baijan's expression became unsightly. He stamped his feet on the ground and quickly charged forward. "Wait." However, right after Baijan took a step forward, Ningyu stretched out his right hand and said, "It's not impossible for me to duel with you, but there must be some stakes." "What prize?" Baijan stopped abruptly. If it weren't for Yao Qiong, Baijan would have already killed Ningyu. Now that Yao Qiong was watching from the side, if Ningyu did not make a move, he would be looked down upon even if he won. "Let me think about it." Ningyu jogged over to Xia Qing's side and asked in a low voice, "Do I need a lot of materials to enter the Tower of Yuzuan now?" "That's right, I need a lot of materials." Xia Qing nodded. "Got it." Ningyu nodded. Then he jogged over to Baijan and said seriously, "I came out in a hurry today and did not bring anything with me. Furthermore, I want to enter the Tower of Yuzuan." "So what are you trying to say?" Baijan looked at him coldly. "The prize is the materials needed to enter the Tower of Yuzuan. Prepare a set of materials for me to enter the Tower of Yuzuan. I will be able to use them later," Ningyu said as if he was talking about something very ordinary. "What is your prize?" Baijan's chest heaved up and down, but he forcefully suppressed it and asked, "My prize? What prize do I need? You're the one who insisted on dueling with me. If I lose, you will beat me up, but if you lose, you will only give me some materials. In short, I'm suffering a great loss." Ningyu was confused, revealing a confused expression. "Pooh!" Baijan was so angry that he vomited a mouthful of blood. "How thick-skinned must you be to say such things?" "Fine, I agree." To teach Ningyu a lesson as soon as possible, Baijan gritted his teeth and agreed. Although there were many materials needed to enter the Tower of Yuzuan, Baijan did not think that he would fail. Hence, he did not feel any psychological burden agreeing to it. "Can we duel now?" Baijan said coldly. "Wait a moment." Ningyu waved his right hand. Then, he jogged over to Yao Qiong's side and said, "Sister Yao, did you hear that? If I defeat that Baijan, he'll give me the materials I need to enter the Tower of Ascension." Whoosh! Yao Qiong's right foot responded to Ningyu. Ningyu shuddered and quickly fled. He was still hoping that Yao Qiong would bring him into the Tower of Yuzuan. It was not wise to offend her here. "All right, you can make your move now." After tidying up his clothes, Ningyu stood where he was and hooked his finger at Baijan. Whoosh! Ningyu's action caused a huge uproar in the surroundings. It was one thing for him to look down on Baijan, but he even mocked him in front of so many people. Given Baijan's character, he would definitely not let him off. Where did this brat come from? He even dares to offend Baijan. Baijan has always prided himself as an exceptional genius. In my opinion, he might have run into a nail this time. I'm optimistic about Baijan. I heard that after the Frost Metal sect merged with the Divine Emperor Palace, Baijan was personally taught by an elder of the Divine Emperor Palace. Although Baijan is only a grade 7 mortal sovereign, he can kill a grade 8 mortal sovereign. That brat is in danger. The opinions of the crowd were not too different. They were not optimistic about Ningyu. This is infuriating. Baijan clenched his fists and instantly shot forward. In order to defeat Ningyu as quickly as possible, Baijan used his full strength in his first move. Frost Metal Fist. Strands of cold qi emerged from Baijan's fist and shot toward Ningyu. "Be careful," Xiaoqing shouted when she saw the changes in Baijan's fist. She didn't know why, but she didn't want anything to happen to Ningyu. Baijan's way of doing things was very shameless. "It's fine." Xiaoqing's voice resounded in his ears. Ningyu turned around and smiled at her. "You're courting death." Seeing Ningyu turn around, Baijan's expression turned cold as he ruthlessly punched his right fist toward Ningyu. At the crucial moment, Ningyu clenched his left fist and thrust it forward. Bang! In the next moment, what everyone had expected did not happen. Instead, Baijan's fist was unable to move an inch forward. What? What did I just see? Am I blind? You mean you're not blind? That brat did block Baijan's all-out attack. Baijan's all-out attack can even kill an 8th grade sovereign. Just who is that brat? He actually managed to block it so easily? You're asking me? Yeah, I'm asking you. Who the hell am I supposed to ask? In short, the fact that Ningyu had blocked Baijan's attack with his left hand caused everyone to discuss it with astonishment. Although Baijan's strength couldn't be ranked in the pellet formation continent, he could still be ranked among the second-rate geniuses in the Qinya Empire. However, a second-rate genius like Baijan was easily defeated by a cultivator of the same realm. Chapter 1367. Sneak Attack. I will kill you. Not only did the crowd not expect this, but even Baijan himself did not expect that Ningyu would block such a powerful attack. Baijan faced the sky and roared. Then, he suddenly pulled back his palm and chopped at Ningyu's neck. Insignificant skill. The corners of Ningyu's lips curled up as he dodged to the side. He grabbed Baijan's wrist with his left hand and exerted some force. Kassier. Baijan's right wrist broke. With his wrist broken, Baijan let out a miserable shriek like a pig being slaughtered. Sorry, I used too much force. Ningyu revealed an apologetic smile as he said, I thought you were very strong, so I used 10% of my strength. If I had known earlier, I would not have used even 5% of my strength. Pooh, 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 pooh. Ningyu's words were very destructive. Baijan vomited several mouthfuls of blood, and the veins on his forehead bulged. Oh, you're going berserk? When Ningyu saw Baijan's transformation, he quickly retreated a few steps. He said in astonishment, This is a little troublesome. If you go berserk, your strength will increase by several levels. I am afraid. I know you are trying to shake my confidence. Ningyu continuously provoked Baijan with words, but it did not have much of an effect. Baijan took a deep breath and calmed down. After calming down, Baijan was somewhat terrifying. Today, I will show you what cruelty is. Baijan grabbed his right wrist with his left hand and exerted force. Kassier. Another melodious sound rang out. However, this time, the melodious sound indicated that Baijan's right wrist had completely recovered. You also know medicine? Ningyu said in astonishment. Anyone who angers me will not have a good ending. Baijan ignored Ningyu's words. He flicked his wrist, and a silver flying sword appeared in his hand. A medial-grade monarch flying sword. No matter what, Baijan was an exceptional genius of the Frost Metal sect. It was not excessive for him to possess a middle-grade monarch flying sword. To be able to die under its sword is the fortune you've cultivated for 8 lifetimes. Baijan said emotionlessly as he caressed the silver flying sword. What do you mean? We're just sparring. Could it be that someone will die? Ningyu's face was cold as he spoke in a deep voice. Don't worry, I won't kill you. I'll only turn you into an idiot. After he finished speaking, Baijan held the silver flying sword in his hand and dashed out quickly. Chi-chi. Baijan's speed was very fast, so fast that it was terrifying. The flying sword pierced through the void of space, making a hissing sound. Whoosh! At the critical moment, Ningyu's figure flashed, dodging Baijan's fatal attack. Again, even though Baijan's first attack had failed, he was not discouraged. Instead, he immediately launched a second attack. Rumble! In midair, Ningyu and Baijan continued to exchange blows. Ningyu managed to dodge every attack, narrowly missing Baijan's attack. However, Baijan missed Baijan's attack every time. As time passed, Baijan's mood became worse and worse. Baijan is going to lose. Yao Qiong said. Lose? Baijan is firmly suppressing him, Xia Qing said doubtfully. On the surface, Baijan seems to have the upper hand. However, that is not the case. Yao Qiong shook her head and said, Baijan used his full power in every attack. However, he did not even manage to touch that brat's clothes. Do you know what this means? I got it. Xia Qing suddenly understood. There was only one possibility for such a situation. The disparity between Ningyu and Baijan was extremely large. It was terrifyingly large. Baijan could not even touch Ningyu's clothes, let alone win. Now, I'm starting to believe his words, Yao Qiong said calmly. Big Sister Yao, do you really think that he's a grade 8 alchemist? Xia Qing was astonished. Xia Qing knew that Ningyu was very powerful. However, there were many powerful cultivators, but that did not mean that their soul power was powerful. Without a powerful soul power, even if one entered the Tower of Ascension, they would not be able to ascend to the 8th floor. Whoosh! Right at this moment, a cold light tore through the void and silently charged towards Ningyu. Not good. The sudden change caused Yao Qiong's expression to change drastically. Someone had made a move. Yao Qiong's first thought was that someone had interfered in the fight. Anyone with a discerning eye could see that Ningyu had the absolute upper hand. As long as Ningyu was given enough time, he would win sooner or later. It's the frigid metal sect. Xia Qing, who was beside Yao Qiong, also had an unsightly expression. No matter what, Yao Qiong was the one who had participated in this fight. Now, someone actually wanted to interfere. It was clear that this person was making an enemy out of Yao Qiong and the Nebula Academy. Be careful. Although Yao Qiong knew that it was the frigid metal sect that had interfered, she had no way of getting even with them. The cold light was extremely fast. In the blink of an eye, it had arrived before Ningyu and was aimed at Ningyu's heart. What a ruthless heart! Yao Qiong clenched her fists. She could not wait to kill that grade 1 Earth Sovereign. However, Yao Qiong was clear that with her current strength, it was impossible for her to confront a grade 1 Earth Sovereign. Not good. Ningyu was fighting with Baijan. He seemed to be looking for an opportunity to defeat Baijan, but he noticed that someone was ambushing him. Ningyu's thought process was simple. If the enemy did not offend him, he would not offend them. If the enemy offended him, he would definitely kill them. Baijan, you can't blame me for this. With a cold gaze, Ningyu took out the red demon sword. Ding! The red demon's sword slashed out and forced Baijan's silver flying sword back. Thereafter, Ningyu brandished the red demon's sword and stabbed it towards Baijan's heart. If the enemy is heartless, don't blame me for being unjust. Ningyu's hearing was very good, so he heard everything that Xiaoqing said. I am sparring with a genius from your frigid metal sect, but you seniors are ambushing me. Originally, he felt a little guilty about killing Baijan. However, it seemed like he no longer felt any guilt. Dying. He injected the essence in his sea of consciousness into the red demon's sword and stabbed it towards Baijan's heart. Swish! The red demon's sword was very fast. Baijan could not dodge it no matter how hard he tried. The flying sword stabbed into Baijan's body, emitting a piercing sound. Primordial Spirit Battle Physique. Since time was of the essence, Ningyu summoned the 10,000 Sacred Flag and summoned the Primordial Spirit Battle Physique to devour Baijan's primordial spirit. Brat, you are courting death. When the Grade 1 Earth Sovereign from the Frigid Metal sect saw Baijan's primordial spirit being devoured, he became furious and charged out. I have yet to settle the score with you, and you are already coming at me. Ningyu brandished the red demon's sword in his hand repeatedly and forced back the cold light that the Grade 1 Earth Sovereign from the Frigid Metal sect had unleashed. Then his body flashed, and he started a fight with the Grade 1 Earth Sovereign. Gulp! Seeing Ningyu's ferocious actions, all the surrounding cultivators, including Yao Qiong, swallowed a mouthful of saliva. That's a Grade 1 Earth Sovereign. It's fine that you blocked his cold light, but you still dare to fight him head-on? Are you tired of living? Chapter 1368. Chapter 1368. Chapter 1368 Pagoda of Transcendence. What did I just see? That brat actually dared to fight against the Great Elder of the Frost Metal School? Yang Song is a pinnacle first grade Earth Sovereign, only a step away from the second grade Earth Sovereign realm. A battle between a Grade 7 Human Sovereign and a Grade 1 Earth Sovereign. TSK. I bet that kid won't last 3 moves. 3 moves? In my opinion, that kid won't even be able to withstand a single move. Ningyu did not retreat. Instead, he advanced and fought with Yang Song, causing the crowd to exclaim in surprise. After all, no matter how one looked at it, Ningyu was definitely no match for Yang Song. A 7th grade human sovereign defeating a 1st grade Earth Sovereign was something that no one had ever imagined. Sister Yao, do you want to? Xiaoqing also did not think that Ningyu could win. His gaze shifted towards Yao Qiong, wanting to seek her help. He killed Baijan. Yao Qiong replied calmly. Baijan is an exceptional genius of the Frigid Metal sect. He is the hope of the Frigid Metal sect's rise. Now that he has been killed by that brat, do you think the Frigid Metal sect will let him go? Let's not talk about whether or not I can save him. Even if I save his life today, the Frigid Metal School will definitely not let this go. But Xiaoqing opened her mouth when she heard Yao Qiong's words. She wanted to say something, but she chose to keep her mouth shut in the end. Yao Qiong was right. Baijan was the absolute genius of the Frost Metal sect. Now that Baijan was dead, the Frigid Metal sect would definitely not let the matter rest. He could only blame Ningyu for being too heavy-handed. If Ningyu had spared Baijan's life, there would have been room for reconciliation. As for now, it was a situation where they would not rest until one of them died. Bang! As the crowd exclaimed, Ningyu and Yang Song's fists collided. The 2 fists collided, and the 2 figures retreated rapidly. Whoosh! Whoosh! Judging from the distance they had retreated, Ningyu and Yang Song were evenly matched and equally matched. Voila! This situation had obviously exceeded everyone's expectations. Everyone's jaws dropped as they looked at Ningyu in disbelief, as if they had seen a ghost. Am I seeing things? A 7th grade Mortal Sovereign and a 1st grade Earth Sovereign are evenly matched? You're not mistaken. This is the result. Impossible, I don't believe it. That brat must be pretending to be weak. Right. If I have not guessed incorrectly, that brat's cultivation is at least at the Earth Sovereign realm, or even a 2nd grade Earth Sovereign realm. No wonder he could kill Baijan so easily. It turns out that he's an Earth sovereign. Everyone revealed a look of relief. No matter how strong Baijan was, he was only a grade 7 mortal sovereign. If Ningyu's cultivation was at the Earth sovereign realm, it would be easy for him to kill Baijan, even if he was the weakest first-grade Earth sovereign. I'm actually an Earth Supreme? Why didn't I know? Ningyu rolled his eyes, speechless. He was a genuine 7th-grade human sovereign, but he never expected that he would become an Earth sovereign in the hearts of the crowd. However, Ningyu did not intend to argue. He knew the gravity of the situation. Through his first fight with Yang Song, he had determined that Yang Song's strength was slightly weaker than his own. Without any external help, Yang Song would definitely die if the fight continued. Sapling, if an expert comes, remember to warn me. Taking a deep breath, Ningyu decided to have a good fight with Yang Song. As the saying goes, if you beat the young, the old will come. Since Yang Song had broken the rules, he did not mind teaching him a lesson. Swish! However, just when Ningyu and Yang Song were about to fight for the second time, a figure suddenly tore through the void and appeared in front of the Nebula Academy. Elder Hu, Yao Qiong was stunned when she saw the figure that suddenly appeared. Then, she said, "Why are you here? Look at what you've done." The old man called Elder Hu fiercely glared at Yao Qiong, then turned to Ningyu and Yang Song and said, "Both of you, if you have any grudges, please settle them in Nebula Academy. This place is better left for them to register." "All right, Hu Chang, I'll give you face." Yang Song did not make things difficult for Hu Chang. Instead, he moved and walked towards the Nebula Academy. "You see," Hu Chang looked at Yang Song, then at Ningyu. His meaning was clear. "I don't care." Shrugging, Ningyu walked into the Nebula Academy. However, when he reached Yao Qiong's side, Ningyu stopped and said in a low voice, "We agreed beforehand that the resources for me to enter the Tower of the Ascension of You will be provided by the Frost Metal Sect." After saying this, Ningyu did not say anything else and quickly walked into the Nebula Academy. Yao Qiong's body trembled, her eyes filled with disbelief. At this moment, a frightening thought appeared in Yao Qiong's mind. Perhaps Ningyu did not kill Yang Song because he wanted Yang Song to provide the resources for him to enter the Tower of the Ascension of You. As soon as this thought appeared, it lingered in Yao Qiong's mind and could not be erased. With her mind in a mess, Yao Qiong turned and entered the Nebula Academy. Continue with the registration. After dealing with the registration, Hu Chang entered the Nebula Academy to find a way to solve the problem between Ningyu and Yang Song. How troublesome. Along the way, Hu Chang felt a headache. The sect master of the Frost Metal Sect was a grade 3 Earth Sovereign. Unless it was absolutely necessary, the Nebula Academy did not want to offend the Frost Metal Sect. Chapter 1369. Chapter 1369. Chapter 1369, The Secrets of Alchemy Emperor. It's been 20 years. This is the first time the Yuzuan Pagoda has moved. The middle-aged man's expression was solemn as he murmured, "I don't believe that you were killed just like that. All these years, I've been trying to find out who attacked you. Don't worry, I will definitely find you, no matter the price." Sha. Ningyu had no idea what the middle-aged man was thinking. At this moment, he completely ignored Yang Song's cold words. Instead, he moved his feet and headed towards the Tower of the Ascension of Yuzu, relying on the senses that appeared in his mind. "Where are you going?" Seeing that Ningyu wanted to leave, Yang Song's expression turned cold. He stomped his feet on the ground and charged forward. Damn it! Hu Chang's expression was equally ugly when he saw that Yang Song had ignored his advice and insisted on becoming enemies with Ningyu. No matter what, he was still an elder of Nebula Academy, and he represented Nebula Academy. Yang Song did not even give him this little bit of face, which made him very angry. Fortunately, his conversation with Yang Song had not been heard by anyone else. Otherwise, how could he put his face if word got out? The more Hu Chang thought about it, the angrier he got. In the end, he even rushed forward. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. In the Nebula Academy, an extremely special scene appeared. Ningyu was in front, Yang Song was in the middle, and Hu Chang was at the back. The speed of the three of them was very fast, shuttling back and forth in the Nebula Academy. Isn't that Elder Hu? It is indeed Elder Hu. Who are the two people in front of him? One of them is Yang Song, the great elder of the Frost Metal sect. As for the other one, I've never seen him before. Even a well-informed person like you hasn't seen him. Could it be that he isn't someone from Nebula Academy? Look, Devil Yao is here too. The Tower of Ascension was located in the central plaza of Nebula Academy, so there were many students along the way. Ningyu's group of three moved forward at full speed, which naturally attracted the attention of many students. Of course, everyone's attention was initially focused on Ningyu, but as time passed, everyone shifted their attention to Yao Qiong. Yao Qiong was the devil-level student of Nebula Academy. She had always been the one to bully others. Others did not dare to bully her. Now, she was actually at the back, and her face was filled with anger. Got it! Suddenly, a student shouted. It must be the young man at the front who took liberties with Devil Yao. Then, the great elder of the Frigid Metal sect and Elder Hu Chang helped to chase after him. Now that you mention it, it's possible. Another student who was watching the show nodded and said, "This is the first time Demon Yao has been so angry. What should we do?" The students looked at each other in dismay. No one knew what to do. Of course, it's to help the demon. As long as we help the demon catch that brat who took liberties with her, the demon won't make things difficult for us in the future. Yes. That's what we'll do. Go and intercept that kid. Go. Quickly go. If we're any slower, that kid will be captured by Elder Hu Chang and the others. Rumble. The students of Star Nebula Academy rushed forward and chased after Ningyu. They wanted to encircle Ningyu. Moreover, more and more people were coming. Let's go. That kid abandoned the demons. We have to seek justice for them. What? He actually dared to get Demon Yao pregnant. I think he's tired of living. What Demon Yao? You have to call her Sister Yao. Although Sister Yao is usually rough, no matter what, she is still my dream lover. Yao Qiong is your dream lover? Then what are you still standing there for? Hurry up and stop that kid. Teach him a lesson. Damn it, I'll go call people. We must bring him to justice today. The more the matter spread, the more outrageous it became. Pucci. At first, Yao Qiong secretly nodded when she saw the indignant expressions of the crowd. Who would have thought that everyone would slander her innocence? This almost made her spit out a mouthful of blood. Get lost. I'll cripple whoever dares to speak nonsense. Yao Qiong was furious. She felt that she had to stop these people. Let's go. Sister Yao is angry. We have to seek justice for her. Even if we have to go through water and tread on fire, we won't hesitate. Some students who were usually bullied by Yao Qiong hid in the crowd and fanned the flames. I'm so angry. Yao Qiong was so angry that her whole body was trembling. Her chest was heaving up and down. Stop right there. Yao Qiong took a deep breath and roared. Crack, crack, crack. Yao Qiong's roar contained a terrifying yuan qi fluctuation that forced some of the weaker students to retreat. Some of the students who were at the blessed realm even had a few of their bones broken. The cultivation of these spectating students was mostly between the manifestation realm and the low-level sovereign realm. The high-level sovereign realm students of Nebula Academy did not participate at all. Don't let me catch up to you, or I'll definitely kill you. Yao Qiong was so angry that she even burned her blood essence to increase her speed. She only hoped to catch up to Ningyu as soon as possible. Turning back to look at the large group surrounding him, Ningyu's face was filled with black lines. It was beyond his expectations that things would turn out this way. However, seeing that the Tower of Yuzuan was right in front of him, Ningyu would definitely not stop at this time. Speed up. Gritting his teeth, Ningyu raised his speed to the limit. His body turned into a blur as he dashed out. Ningyu's increase in speed had shaken off many low-level sovereign realm cultivators. Even Yang Song and Hu Chang had pulled away from him. Bang! Before long, Ningyu stopped in front of a huge square tower, the Tower of Yuzuan. Raising his head to look at the familiar square tower, Ningyu's eyes blazed. Buzz! After Ningyu appeared, the tower of Yuzuin seemed to tremble slightly, as if it wanted to suck Ningyu in. What's going on? At this moment, Hu Chong and the rest could no longer care about chasing Ningyu. They all stopped and looked at the tower of Yuzuin in confusion. This was the first time the tower of Yuzuin had trembled since Grandmaster Nebula took it out. Crack! When the tower of Yuzuin trembled for 3 seconds, the space above it suddenly split open, and a blurry figure slowly walked out. It's Grandmaster Nebula. I didn't expect the tower of Yuzuin's trembling to alarm Grandmaster Nebula. Nonsense. The tower of Yuzuin belongs to Grandmaster Nebula. Its shaking will definitely alarm him. Swish! After Grandmaster Nebula appeared, he first looked at the tower of Yuzuin and stabilized it. Then, his gaze shifted and landed on Ningyu. A little special. Master Xing Yun's evaluation of Ning Yu was only 4 words, and that was a little special. While Grandmaster Nebula was sizing up Ningyu was also sizing up Grandmaster Nebula. A pinnacle 9th grade alchemist, and he's already reached the 2nd step. Ningyu's expression was calm, but his heart was in turmoil. Although there weren't many pinnacle 9th grade alchemists in the entire Sky Demon domain, they weren't few either. However, it would be extremely difficult for these pinnacle 9th grade alchemists to advance to 10th grade alchemist. A pinnacle 9th grade alchemist could be called a pill emperor. If a pinnacle 9th grade alchemist wanted to advance to 10th grade alchemist, he would need to smoothly pass 3 stages. The first stage, chi to liquid. The second stage, chi to pill. Chapter 1370. Ascending the Ascension Tower. In his previous life, Ningyu was a peak 9th grade alchemist on the surface, but in reality, he had reached the stage of breaking through to the Emperor realm. With just one more step, he could become a pill emperor and look down on the Sky Demon region. In the end, he was besieged by 9 powerhouses and fell at the peak of the Sky Demon region. Ningyu did not expect that his disciple, whose talent in alchemy was not particularly outstanding, could reach this step and reach the stage of turning liquid into pills. You want to enter the Tower of Ascension? After a moment of silence, Grandmaster Xing Yun asked. That's right. I want to enter the Tower of Ascension. Ningyu nodded. He did not lie. Why? Grandmaster Xing Yun's tone was calm, without any emotions. I heard that the Tower of Ascension is very helpful for cultivating soul force. In all these years, no one from Nebula Academy has been able to ascend to the 8th floor, so I wanted to give it a try. Ningyu answered. Arrogant. Who do you think you are? You want to ascend to the 8th floor? Grandmaster Xing Yun, please allow me to expel him from Nebula Academy. Even Yao Qiong couldn't ascend to the 8th floor, let alone you. Ningyu's words had clearly angered the crowd. Originally, everyone had a bad impression of Ningyu. Of course, this was all a rumor. After all, Ningyu did not flirt with Yao Qiong, nor did he abandon her. Grandmaster Xing Yun's gaze swept across the students. In an instant, many of them chose to remain silent. Angering Grandmaster Xing Yun would not end well for them. What makes you think you can ascend to the 8th floor? Grandmaster Xing Yun stared at Ningyu and asked. Confidence. Ningyu's answer was very simple, only one word, and that was confidence. Hearing Ningyu's words, many of the students of Nebula Academy showed a furious expression. However, with Grandmaster Xing Yun present, they could not do anything. I'll give you a chance to enter the Tower of Ascension. Grandmaster Xing Yun waved his hand, and the entrance to the first level of the Transcendence Pagoda slowly opened. After the entrance of the first floor opened, Master Xing Yun's figure gradually became blurry. He was about to leave. Seeing that Grandmaster Xing Yun was about to leave, Yao Qiong said anxiously, Master, I want to go in too. Master Xing Yun didn't even turn his head. He waved his hand and said, Sure. Thank you, Master. Yao Qiong's face was filled with gratitude. She snorted at Ningyu and quickly walked towards the entrance of the first level of the Tower of Yuzu. Ningyu's attention was not on Yao Qiong at all. Ever since the Yuzuin Pagoda opened, Ningyu discovered that Grandmaster Xing Yun had set up an array formation at the entrance to the first floor of the Yuzuin Pagoda. The array formation was very special. It only allowed the younger generation to enter. If older martial artists wanted to enter, they would be automatically ejected. All right. At the entrance of the first floor, Ningyu stopped. He turned around and said to Hu Chang, "Get that guy from the Frost Metal sect to pay for the materials I need to enter the Tower of Yuzuan. After all, Baijan lost to me in a duel, so it's only right for him to F***CK." Before Ningyu could finish his sentence, he hastily entered the Tower of Yuzuan. He saw Yang Song's gloomy expression and that he was about to make a move. Fight with Yang Song here? Ningyu didn't have that kind of time. His main task was to enter the Tower of Yuzuan and reach the 8th floor. If he fought with Yang Song here, the consequences would be unimaginable. Not to mention the delay. If he incurred Grandmaster Xing Yun's displeasure, he wouldn't be able to enter the Tower of Yuzuan. Moving his feet, Ningyu entered the Tower of Yuzuan without looking back. Rumble. After Ningyu and Yao Qiong entered the Tower of Yuzuan, the entrance of the Tower of Yuzuan closed with a loud bang. The first floor of the Tower of Yuzuan was a sealed room. There was nothing inside, and it looked rather desolate. Ningyu didn't stop. He went straight to the center of the room, clenched his right fist, and punched the ground. Kacha! Ningyu's punch was extremely powerful, and its might was extremely terrifying. A huge crack appeared on the ground, and several black figures dashed out from the crack. "What are you doing?" Yao Qiong shouted when she saw Ningyu's actions. "Nothing. I just want to enter the 2nd floor as soon as possible." After entering the Tower of Yuzuan, Ningyu didn't hide anymore. He wanted to enter the 8th floor as soon as possible. In this world, no one understood the Tower of Yuzuan better than Ningyu. Ningyu believed that even Grandmaster Xing Yun, his previous life's disciple, didn't know many of the Tower of Yuzuan's secrets. To enter the 2nd floor, we need to wait here for a few minutes. The entrance to the 2nd floor will open automatically. Yao Qiong shouted angrily. Yao Qiong had entered the 1st floor of the Tower of Yuzuan many times. After many tries, Yao Qiong figured out the situation. She didn't need to do anything in the first 3 floors of the Tower of Yuzuan. All she needed to do was wait, and she would be able to pass through them. Only at the 4th floor would there be danger. Now that Ningyu was attacking the ground, it actually attracted many black figures. Take a few steps back and be careful. Ningyu took out the red demon sword and slashed at the black figures. Puffed, puffed, puffed. The creatures on the 1st level of the Transcendence Pagoda were relatively weak, so Ningyu quickly killed them. Absorb. After dealing with the black figures, Ningyu controlled the red demon sword and devoured them. Creak. The black figures disappeared, and the entrance to the 2nd floor slowly opened. Looking at the entrance, Yao Qiong's mouth was slightly agape. She was slightly shocked. In the past, she would always wait for the entrance to the 2nd floor to open. She didn't expect it to be like this. The Tower of Yuzuan is very special. Although we can pass the first 3 floors by just waiting, these black figures are great nourishment. We can't miss them. As if seeing Yao Qiong's doubt, Ningyu explained. Gulp. Yao Qiong swallowed a mouthful of saliva and asked doubtfully, "What are those black figures?" Soul force wrapped in Yuan Qi. Ningyu said, "The Tower of Yuzuan can help cultivate soul force. Anyone with soul force of any level will be able to cultivate faster. Although the soul force of the black figures in the first 3 floors is weaker, it's still meat. We can't waste it." As he spoke, Ningyu walked towards the 2nd floor. Those black figures are soul force wrapped in Yuan Qi. So that's how it is. Yao Qiong was shocked. On the 4th floor of the Tower of Yuzuan, a soul figure would appear. As long as one could defeat the soul figure, they would be able to pass the 4th floor. Yao Qiong seemed to be enlightened. In the past, she had to spend a lot of effort to kill the soul figures. Whatever the tower rewarded her, she would passively accept. She had never thought of devouring those soul figures. Since there was nothing wrong with Ningyu's actions, she made up her mind to devour those soul figures when they reached the 2nd floor. She couldn't let Ningyu take all the advantages. After all, in Yao Qiong's opinion, Grandmaster Xingyan had her follow Ningyu in order to keep an eye on Ningyu. You're tuning into the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.